So there you go. Frank, you look great in that helmet.
I wish I still had it on.
Comfortable.
Yeah.
It is cool. Actually, when they first announced that last week, my first thought was, I need that.
Yeah, you
for
know,
the office.
If you get a closer look at the helmets, it actually has a little like speckles of blue in it. The white with the speckles of blue, and then what is it, cow motif? I don't know how to describe it.
That is. That's exactly how you would describe it. The cow motif. Yeah. You know what they do with these helmets these days? Alema, I had one helmet since the time I was like 8 years old through high school.
Right.
I had one helmet.
Right.
And at the University of Utah, I had one helmet.
Yeah.
These guys have one helmet for every day of the week.
Yes, they do.
We are underway. The 2024 college football season in Logan has begun with a touchback. Aggies will have the ball first. Robert Morris won the toss, and as most teams do, elected to defer. This is going to be an interesting first play, Frank.
There's a young fan down on the field.
Let's talk a little bit about this. They're honoring a young man when the Aggies are on defense. We'll tell you a little more about that coming up, but we do not want to forget that.
Nope.
Who lost his life during the off-season. So keep that in mind, and we will get back to it. At quarterback, Spencer Petras, the Iowa transfer, and his first snap of the game is a handoff. And it's Briggs, who doesn't get much.
Quick penetration from the corner. That's Petras that came in and made the stop. Excuse me, Rob Carter was the one that made the stop.
And Petras' first pass of the game, and that's complete to Briggs. And Briggs gets out in the flat and is going to be very close to a first down. The referee is right on the mark. I think they're going to move the chains, and they are. It's a first down.
And you know, Utah State, they love to go pace here. No huddle. Quickly back to the line of scrimmage.
Briggs again. And it's just Briggs so far in the early going here. You're talking about pace, Alema. We were talking with Nate Driley, the acting head coach. We had mentioned that last year they were, they're running a play every 21 seconds.
Right.
He says, we're still going to go pace. So it's going to be a quick-moving offense. No doubt about that. Motion man, by the way, is Brock Lane. And they're excited about Lane, and they're really excited about Jalen Royals. How about having a 1,000-yard receiver back this season?
71 grabs last year and does a great job watching him catch the ball, then turn outside away from the defender and get some good yards after the catch.
The Will linebacker, Will Chicago, already has about 3 of the tackles so far in this game. Petras looking, firing over the middle. It's complete. Briggs again down inside the 35-yard line. The Aggies continuing to move the football. Patrick McDonald on the stop.
Release Briggs off the left side, and he kind of comes back to the middle of the field, wide open, just sits down in that dead space in the defense.
Rob Carter is the Colonial player who's on one knee now, slowly working his way up as they stop the game for that. So the Aggies really moving the football on this first possession of the game.
Petras looks very comfortable at the quarterback. You'd expect that. With all of his experience at Iowa, started 31 games there, 38 in all, I believe he played in at Iowa. Played pretty well, over 56% completions, threw more touchdowns than interceptions. I think Utah State is really happy to have Petras on the staff. And he looks good so far. I like what they're doing on the offensive side as well. Alema, just working him into the game. Simple passes, simple completions.
I think you did a great job describing the quarterback room and all the experience that that group has, but none of it here until tonight.
So second and short. And Robert Briggs remains in the backfield. Briggs at 420 yards and 2 touchdowns last season. You'll also see Rashul Faison, number 3, and Herschel Turner, number 21, throughout this game as they rotate in their backs. So here we go. And Briggs again. Briggs has a hole. First down and more. all the way down near the 25-yard line.
With Brock Lane in motion, he does a nice job kind of sealing that hole and allowing Briggs to get through for the first down.
This time the fake to Briggs. Petrus pass is caught. Jalen Royals again. We do have a flag down. Let's check that. Right at the line of scrimmage, and the Aggies are walking backwards, so it's kind of looking like it. Man, that's the case. So Cole Moats charged with the hold, and they'll back this one up.
Their offensive line for Utah State, all 300-pounders. Cole Moats just got that penalty out of Thatcher, Arizona, 6'5", 300. Wyatt Bowles on that left side as well, also 6'5", 300. Alo, 6'2", 300. Mahi, 6'1", 305. Anderson, 6'5", 305. Anderson just a sophomore out of Lehigh High School.
And Coach Dreiling was just raving about these guys, really on both sides of the ball. Briggs with the carry there, and picks up a couple.
We'll see if Utah State can overcome that penalty. They lost a little bit of momentum as they went backwards.
And again, play fake, pass is complete. Tia, and Tia tough to bring down. He gets all the way down near the 20-yard line, so a very manageable 3rd and 4 coming up.
You know, Frank, they were on really that almost that far hash mark, and Tia was almost to the sideline on the near side of the field here, and comes back through short route, but nice yards after the catch.
3rd and 4. Petrus looking. Oh, his receiver slipped. Intercepted. Pass is picked off by Tarvis Harvey. And if you look again, the receiver just slipped and when he threw the ball.
Yeah, it was there. The play was there. A little post route. Petrus found him downfield. And unfortunately, as you saw in the replay, just slipped down. The defensive back is Johnny on the spot for the interception.
Petrus did a nice job. He was throwing that ball exactly where he thought that his receiver would end up, but because of the slip, obviously a secondary able to step in and cut that thing off.
That's one of those when they look back on film, not entirely on Petrus, although Frank would disagree that. No, you would agree with that.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, you'd be
Frank
like,
is all about making sure that the quarterback doesn't get blamed for anything.
Well, Petrus did all the right stuff.
So you'll notice there's only 10 players out on the field right now for the Aggies. Talk to us about this.
Well, the Aggies are honoring a fallen comrade tonight here. Andre Selden Jr. wore number 8. In fact, there's a number 8 sticker on the back of the Aggies helmets this football season. Died in an unfortunate drowning accident this summer. And so we're going to have 10 men on the field honoring number 8, Andre Selden Jr., and no penalty will be assessed.
No, that's really cool. The stadium completely quiet while they were doing that, and again, they did not assess the penalty, and now the Aggies are ready to go. Here's Coach Dreiling.
So many things that have taken place during the offseason, that being certainly the most tragic. And as a community, as a team in the locker room, how that impacts a team, and really, those are your brothers. It's tragic. It's almost unspeakable the way that you have to deal with that.
All right, so the quarterback, Anthony Chickett, and he goes off to Tavon Edmonds, and Edmonds gets a few yards before J.D. Drew is there to stop him.
Tavon Edmonds, 5'8", 180, real shifty runner. You saw him making a few moves in the backfield before he turned it up. Pick up about 5 on the play.
Yeah, that's a very nice run on first down. And we know Coach Dreiling, defensive coordinator at heart, he's going to be very interested to see what his front 7 does tonight. He's very high on that group of players.
2nd down and 6. Chickett, this time his first pass. Rush is coming at him. He was under pressure. Clyde Washington got in there, and he had no chance at all. I mean, this Aggie defensive front is going to be tough for the Colonials to block.
Very active. Torn Union, number 15, the linebacker, came over from New Mexico State, transferred in. He was part of that pressure package for Utah State.
3rd and 6. Empty back for Anthony Chickett. Chickett looking a little better protection this time. This is going to be shy of the first, though. And we're talking about Union, the New Mexico State transfer, and he was on coverage there. And it will be a 4th and 2, and the punt team comes on for Bernard Clark's
Coach
team.
had so many good things to say about a lot of these guys that have transferred in, especially the guys coming from New Mexico State, and had a lot of good things to say about Torn Union as far as his leadership is concerned and his ability as a backer, both run support and getting out in coverage.
Robert Freeman standing back at his 10-yard line, awaiting the punt of Stephen Ernest.
Clock is going down. They're not going to get it off.
Well, there's the flag, yeah.
It almost felt like they
may be on purpose, move it back 5 yards and give your punter a chance to put it inside the 10.
That comes into play later on. All right, so Freeman moves up to his 15-yard line, and the kick is away. And it goes out. Yeah, this isn't going to be a great punt. They're going to mark it back. Ref still moving, still moving, still moving. Is up to the 30. The ref's up to the 35-yard line. No, he stops at the 33.
And immediately stopped. What vision on that referee to see that ball go out at the 33-yard line? 37, 33-yard line. How did he do that?
He's got help, Frank.
He's gifted.
We'll be back. In that last drive, a lot of Robert Briggs. Now number 3 trots onto the field. Rasul Faison, the senior running back. 736 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns last season. Pretty deep running back room for the Aggies this season. And here we go. And on first down, it will be Faison. And he gets to the outside. And this Aggie offensive line continues to open holes for these backs.
They do a great job implementing also Brock Lane, the big tight end at 6'4", 245. He's a great blocker. That play not necessarily designed to bounce out to the right, but nice job by Faison.
And here he comes again. This time goes right into the middle, and he'll pick up 5 yards.
You know you got a good offensive line when your back can kind of hesitate in the backfield, wait for things to develop, and then burst. Exactly what you just saw.
They're going to spot it after a 4-yard game, so 2nd and 6. And Petrus to throw. Petrus looking downfield. Hit as he threw. Is it another interception? Yes. And it's Harvey again. Wow. Harvey is just having a little fun today.
That is stunning.
Well, that just went right through the hands of Otto Tia. Take a look here.
Harvey just a freshman.
That's a great job by Harvey to be able to rob that ball.
Wow. That's wild.
That is wild.
Well,
a little bit about Bernard Clark Jr., head coach at Robert Morris. Been there for 7 years. 1741 record overall. He was a great player in college, though. Played for the Hurricanes. Played for the Miami Hurricanes, in the championship years, in the good years.
Wow, the good old days. That's when The Rock was there. We'll be back. Well, how about that? 2 interceptions from Tyrus Harvey, the freshman, for Robert Morris. And once again, the Aggie defense back out on the field. And here we go, quarterback Anthony Chickett. And Chickett will give off. Edmonds, Frank said he saw a hold, but I didn't see a flag.
Yeah, I thought I saw a hold on that play coming around left edge there, but no flag out, and Robert Morris will go right back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, they load up with an extra tight end and then pull him over for a little seal block. Able to kick that one outside a little bit.
Josh Firm is the offense coordinator. He's drawn up a nice scheme so far. Another great run by Edmonds before Jordan Vincent, one of the New Mexico State transfers, stops him.
Edmonds has had a couple nice runs. Would you call him twitchy?
Twitchy?
Twitchy. Like he has that twitch in the line of scrimmage, making people miss in small spaces.
So if it's synonymous with shifty, then I'm with you all the way. But you could just say shifty.
Twitchy.
And then we could avoid this whole conversation.
I trademark twitchy.
Second down, 4. Chickett, this time coming out of the backfield. And Lucas, good yardage again, guys. Now the Colonials moving the ball down the field.
Well, you ought to check out Edmonds if we get to see a replay on this. The pass protection by Edmonds was fantastic. That allowed Chickett to get rid of the football.
Lucas, a well-utilized tight end, big target at 6'3", 240. He's got 16 grabs, 256 yards, and 4 TDs coming into this game. Nice little career so far.
First down, Edmonds in the backfield this time. Oh, and Chickett gets out of trouble. And Chickett, he's just going to take off with it, and he's finally brought down, but not after a gain of a few. And Blaine Spires comes up with the tackle.
Well, just a great job by Chickett. Watch how he avoids by turning around. A little spin in the backfield and gives him the opportunity to take that thing to the near side of the field. And nice pickup on first down, about 5 yards.
Impressive first quarter so far from Robert Morris. The Colonials on the move. Anthony Chickett, the quarterback, giving to Edmonds, and Edmonds runs into a pile and doesn't get much. A number of Aggies there, including J.D. Drew, that came up from his corner spot.
Nice job that time by the front seven to just stuff the line of scrimmage.
Taz Williams was also right in there. He's the Kent State transfer. Number of transfers on this team this year, guys.
It's college football for you.
It sure is. It's a whole new world. All right, big third down coming. Long 3 to go. And Chickett rolling. Firing wide open, but he a little low. Anoka Migayo put a little pressure on him. So fourth down. You saw Gabe Peterson in there, too, another one of the New Mexico State transfers that Nate Dreiling was just raving about. And it looks like Bernard Clark's going to leave the offense on the field. Big 4th and 4.
Oh,
So
here we go. I think Robert Morris was about 65% on fourth down a year ago.
And a timeout is called by the Aggies.
Couldn't
Nate
get the
Dreiling.
formation.
Yeah,
a lot of shifting by Robert Morris.
So 2 turnovers. And Robert Morris trying to convert a fourth down now. We'll see what happens when we return here. Aggie football on KMYU TV. We are back, and we've got a big fourth down coming for the Robert Morris Colonials. They are trying to capitalize on what was the second interception of this game. DJ Moyer, running back, now comes into the game. So he's in the backfield along with quarterback Anthony Chickett. Here we go. And Chickett's going to try to throw for it. Chickett's pass is caught. Oh, I'm not sure if he got it, though. That's Ike Larson. Look at Ike. The Skyview High School grad, you throw his direction, you better be sure.
No. You take a timeout
sure.
because you're looking at the formation Robert Morris put on the field, and it's like, I'm not sure if we're ready to diagnose this and figure it out. So you take the timeout. Robert Morris also goes to the sideline. They come out with a completely different formation, but that doesn't stop Larson from coming up and making a big play.
And if you're Robert Morris, your receivers have to get beyond the first down marker. It's very difficult to complete a pass behind the marker and then ask him to get that yardage in that particular situation, especially
against
with with a defensive backfield like Larson.
All right, back on offense, and Rasul Faison is back on. Running the ball for the Aggies. Spencer Petras has already thrown 2 interceptions, but they were just weird. Just some routes, receivers falling. So we'll see how that's going to transpire. But I know Tyrus Harvey's loving it because he's got both interceptions. Going deep down the sideline for Kobe Bowman and just overthrows him.
Well, if you were concerned about the arm strength.
Yeah, don't be.
Petras, you saw that right there. Nearly had his man.
He unloaded that.
Yes.
Colby Bowman last season, 11 receptions, 247 yards. He's the transfer from Stanford. He played at John Bosco. Frank, you know all about that school. Powerhouse in Southern California.
Absolutely.
3rd down 6.
Triple receiver stack to the far side of the formation.
Faison back and forth. Oh, he has to get rid of that. Faison's got it. Does he have enough room? No blockers out there. Nowhere to go. They're going to actually lose a few yards. So 4th down coming. And Robert Morris, the Colonials have held again.
Yeah, on a play like that, on any of those screens, you've got to be able to sustain your blocks. The 3 receivers I mentioned, they were all out front and weren't able to hang on to their blocks. There's a player down for Robert Morris.
That's Harvey.
That's Harvey.
The young man that had both interceptions.
Yeah.
The freshman still on the field, and another timeout for an injury.
Well, it looks like maybe we're just dealing with cramps. They're stretching him out there, so hopefully that's all he has. Tell you what, Utah State's hoping he just gets himself off the field. They don't want to see him anymore.
Well, I'll tell you, it was very warm here this afternoon into the early evening.
It's beautiful
and
now.
The shadows just now covering the entire field, but warm-ups took place and in the hot sun, and then you add the altitude to that. And if you haven't taken your pickle juice,
you got to have pickle juice.
And pickle juice is not something you do day of or on the sideline.
Yeah, you can't do it right before you run out there. I suppose you could try to rub it on the injury, but I don't think that'll do much.
I'm pretty sure it won't do anything. It might make you smell weird.
You never know. I mean, pickle juice is a miraculous.
It's like
an hydrating fuel. An elixir.
Like a big fat Greek wedding. It's like the Windex.
Yeah, a Windex take care of it.
Anything.
Yeah.
Frank, you were talking about Bernard Clark, the head coach at Robert Morris. He, by the way, it's an interesting side note, he's never played against the Aggies as a head coach, but he is 1-0 in this stadium. He was an assistant with Colorado State back in 2011 when they beat the Aggies here. So that's his history.
I have another bit of trivia about that related to Utah State. I'll give that to you in a minute.
All right, the punt is away. Fair catch called for at the 33-yard line. And so, again, we are at a stalemate. 4:51 to play here in the first quarter, and neither team has scored. Field with Anthony Chickett. Oh, that was nearly fumbled. Taz Williams got there quickly, and now there's a penalty.
This is going to be unsportsmanlike.
Yeah, I think
the player was down. A late hit came.
Yeah, and Miguel's momentum kind of carried him into.
Noah Robinson was the ball carrier.
Yeah.
Taz Williams got there quickly.
They're going a little flag sweep action, and instead of handing the ball off as a bit of a toss, as a forward pass is what it ends up being statistically.
Officials are still talking.
But Robinson had a hard time trying to just get a grip on that ball. As soon as he did, he got knocked down.
I wonder if they're going to pick this up. No, they're going to make a call. Here we go. It was a long discussion, though. Okay, they did pick it up.
Oh, interesting.
There you go.
How about that? How about that?
Take another look here. So it was not Mingao that came in a little bit late. That was my mistake.
All right, so 2nd and long.
That was Jaden Francois.
Chickett dumps it off. Big tight end. Great coverage right there. And nowhere to go as
Francois once again.
Defense all over it.
Couple of big plays by Francois.
Third and 12. Chickett. Pass is caught once again by Robinson. Whoa. How about a tackle? Good open field tackle.
Oh, Jaden Pearson coming up and getting down to the legs of the ball carrier and getting them down to the ground in a hurry.
Utah State's been really good with that 4-man front, Alema. They really haven't had to bring any other pressure. That time they started in a 4-man front. They rushed 3, dropped 1 and
Williams out
into coverage, which may have helped solidify that stop on 3rd down.
Robert Freeman back at his 26-yard line, awaiting the punt. And this kick is just drilled right into Freeman's hands. Hangs on, and Freeman, decent return there as he gets up near the 40-yard line.
The punter for Robert Morris, exact opposite of what you get from the punter for Utah State. That was almost a line drive, no hang time.
I have something called 6 degrees of coaching. But this is kind of long, so I can't do it while Utah State's on offense because they run a play too often. So I'm just going to tease it.
Perfect. We'll wait for that. Robert Briggs back into the backfield now for the Aggies. So Briggs got the first series. Faison got the 2nd and 3rd. Now back to Briggs on their 4th series. Still no score. 3 minutes in the first quarter. And Briggs gets the carry. And he is met by Freeman right in the middle of that line.
Robert Morris doing a better job of slowing down the run game of the Aggies.
Yes, 2nd down 7. And Petrus pass caught. Royals really nowhere to go. We'll get a couple. So a 3rd and 4 coming. Royals 1,080 yards last year, 15 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's that guy when you're looking at the receiver room and guys returning. It's like, I want to see what Royals does here this season. In his senior campaign.
3rd and 4. Petrus fires short. 1st down yardage. It's Kyrese White, and White is going to score. 57 yards to Pater.
Just a crossing route from Kyrese White.
That's his first career touchdown, guys. He only had 2 receptions last year.
Roy High School is up the street or down the street, I guess his case might be. But showing some great speed as he broke to the outside and nobody's going to catch him.
We broadcast a lot of high school football here, and we've had Kyrese White on a few of our games over the years at Roy High School. A few years back when Fred Fernandez was coaching him.
Freddie Fernandez.
They're going to have to take a delay game because they were late getting one of the linemen in. Cole Moats trotted in.
That's a first game.
Yeah.
First game issue.
Not a penalty by design, but this is one of those penalties that you can live with the penalty like this.
True.
Because your kicker is going to be able to still make an extra point, even if he's kicking from the 8-yard line instead of inside the 5.
So Elliot Nimrod, 41 of 43 point afters last year. Stanley, the punter, is the holder. And the kick is up, and it's good.
Nimrod almost kicked it out of the stadium.
Yeah. I like the no nets here at Everett Stadium.
I do too.
Obviously on the north end zone, it's right into the athletic facility. But on the south side, normally you would have nets to keep it from going, but they trust their fans here.
What is trusting? Well, there are some stadiums you probably wouldn't see the ball.
If Frank were seated up there,
it's a recruiting.
The nets would be there because you know Frank would grab that ball and run out into the parking lot.
Yeah, I'd run with it. It's a recruiting technique. If a guy can catch one of those points after, he's like, hey, yeah, look at the hands on that guy. All right, do we have some time here? Do you want to do the 6 degrees of coaching?
Let's hear it.
Okay. Robert Morris head coach Bernard Clark Jr. Connected to Utah State head coach Nate Dreiling. Dreiling was a defensive analyst at Oregon under Mario Cristobal. That's 1. 2, Cristobal is head coach at Miami with Kevin Beard on the staff. 3, Beard played at Miami under head coach Larry Coker. 4, Coker had Randy Shannon on staff at Miami. 5, Shannon and Clark were teammates at Miami. If you could follow along with all of that, then
that's the connection.
I've read it 7 times. I'm still not sure what happened.
That's why when we asked Coach Dreiling, we had our meeting with him on Friday, if he had any connection to Bernard Clark, he said, no, I don't.
You got to give credit.
How would he possibly find that?
How did he not know that?
Sports Information Group, when you brought up that kind of weird stat that he's never played against Utah State, but he's coached in
this stadium.
This stadium.
That's almost as like the 6 degrees of separation type of thing.
That is.
All right, so the Aggies get on the board. Now let's see if the defense can keep things going. As they continue to shift around players on that defensive line. Sloan is now in, the senior from Rockland, California. And we got movement. Oops. Dante Thompson, number 70, the big lineman. That defensive line had him a little nervous.
It might have been the tight end that jumped.
I think it was 80.
Yeah, it was Mitchell.
He was trying to get a head start. Oh, that's the worst. Cole Mitchell gets the penalty, and then they take him off. Take him out of the game. Ooh.
I wonder if there's a designated coach that's on the sideline ready to rip him.
Yeah. 1st and 15. Out in the flat. And good yardage for Edmonds as he gets down. He's got the first down.
Yeah, penalty yardage. Get that back plus the first down. It's a nice run after the catch. That time by Edmonds.
Jordan Francois with another stop. Oh, we called a lot last year. Flags everywhere.
Wait.
They're actually shifting tight ends and guards.
That wasn't motion. I don't think that was motion. I think that's a shift. I don't think that's the right call.
There's no question it was a shift.
Well, Jaden Rowling, the offensive lineman, he had Blaine Spires on the other side of the ball.
Watch here, the shift. Now you got the guard that's going to shift over from strong right side to the left side. So they move the tight ends over, maintain strength right side, but they move the guard over from right side to left side.
Well, they're trying to plead their case, but to no avail. So Edmonds stays in the backfield along with Chichit. And he's got the football and runs into his own lineman. Almost had a face mask there and ends up getting back some of that yardage and a little bit more. McConico on the stop.
That was a strong run by Tyvon Edmonds. As you mentioned, runs into his own lineman who had gotten, out there trying to throw a block and gets pushed right back into the running lane. But Edmonds able to break through there and get a few more yards.
2nd down, 6. Chickett again. He's going to fire short again to Edmonds, and Edmonds dives ahead. He's going to be about 2 yards shy before Francois makes the stop.
Edmonds slow getting up. I think he's winded.
Yeah, you may be right.
It's challenging coming up to this altitude, and Edmonds has been a workhorse.
Yeah.
So they'll take him out of the game, 3rd and short.
So Moyer will come in for Edmonds, DJ Moyer, the junior running back. And it's a 3rd and 2. And Chickett will give it to Moyer. Moyer's got a hole on the right side, and he's got a first down. Ike Larson makes the stop, along with May. And that is going to be the last play of the first quarter. So a defensive battle up until the very end of that quarter when Kyrese White went more than 60 yards on the touchdown reception, putting the Aggies on the board. But we're through one. Aggies leading Robert Morris 7-0 on KMYU TV locally and the Mountain West Network. Back onto the second quarter. Aggies leading 7-0 right now. Robert Morris with the football, and Aggie quarterback Spencer Petras having a decent game at 7 of 10, 106 yards, but those 2 interceptions kind of mucking up that stat line for them as they take Tyvon Edmonds comes back into the game. Frank, you mentioned he looked a little winded. He got a little rest, and he is back. Jordan Vincent on the stop for the Aggies.
Yeah, Petras looking really comfortable with the exception of those 2 interceptions, and I would explain away both of those.
Yeah.
One with a receiver slip in, falling down, and then the second one, really just a great defensive play.
2nd down 4. Chickett's pass caught. Cole Mitchell on the reception.
It's a big target at 6'5", the tight end, Cole Mitchell.
So a first down, and Robert Morris continuing to move the football. Colonials from back in Pennsylvania. Moon Township. You ever heard of that?
The Moon Township.
Moon Township, Pennsylvania. First down. Fake to Edmonds, wide open, and Mitchell is going to work his way into the end zone. Someone missed an assignment, and Mitchell made him pay.
Well, great play action, and that held all the linebackers. Maybe you got a safety stepping up, and you have the success of your run game. So you fake the handoff to Edmonds, and you find your big tight end, Mitchell, for the touchdown.
Man, he lowered the boom when he got near that goal line. Is not going to be denied. Take a look. Boom. Touchdown. So the point after to tie things up. Jason Jenkins, the senior kicker. And that kick is up and good. And we are deadlocked here in the second quarter.
Oh. The scoreboard, Nate.
They'll fix it.
Yes.
There we go. We'll be back. Welcome back to Logan. Aggie football here on the Mountain West Network and locally on KMYU TV. And they're getting all they can handle right now. Robert Morris, 2 interceptions. And then a touchdown here to tie things up.
Well, the 2 interceptions obviously killed 2 offensive drives early in this football game. And Robert Morris has done a nice job of getting engaged at the line of scrimmage. They were losing that battle early in the football game, but have turned it around here in this first half.
And this kick sails nearly out of the stadium, or at least out of the playing field. Good leg. So the Aggie offense come out once again. We talked about Spencer Petras. Good numbers overall, 7-11, but those 2 interceptions kind of mar things a little bit. How about those helmets? Gotta love the That's the coach was telling us this actually started as kind of a joke, like an April Fool's joke. But they just loved it, and they ended up making it their opening day helmets.
The players loved it? Is that what
someone
happened?
did?
I hoped it was the players.
Yeah. I like it. I think you always have alternatives.
All right, Robert Briggs, the running back for the Aggies on this series. Fake to Briggs. And, overthrows Royals. Probably a good thing, because he would have been popped. So a couple of new rules this year, and one of them is you can have the speakers in the helmets, although the Aggies are signaling in the plays. And then there will be a 2-minute warning, like the NFL, with 2 minutes to go in the half, so you get a freebie timeout there. Briggs gets the carry on the delayed handoff, busts through a couple of tackles, and he'll get 4.
Did a good job of hanging onto the ball. Kai Holloway, watch at the end of this play, will get a hand on the ball, and running backs work on this all the time, making sure that you secure that ball. The most important thing on every play is to take care of the football.
Coming out of that first quarter, Utah State's only 1 of 3 on third downs, and this is third and long, third and about 6.
Petrus, plenty of time, and fires first down yardage and more. And White, who just caught that touchdown pass, is all the way up to midfield. So Kyrese White having a nice opening night.
To use the word that you were trying to promote here, twitchy.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
That was twitchy.
Yeah, it was. Great protection up front.
First down for the Aggies. Briggs tries to get outside, and he does. And Briggs has another first down. Aggies moving the chains to the 40-yard line.
He was about one broken tackle away. Watch this.
I'm not sure if that play was designed to go off the tackle all the way wide to the right, but he bounced it out there. He's got the speed to make that work.
Sometimes a coach will see that play, not drawn up that way, and then they'll put that in the playbook next. Look, we're going to run the play like this.
First down, carry to Briggs, and Briggs, a penalty flag just came flying in, but he got good yardage on that carry. But let's check the flag. 6-yard pickup before the penalty.
I wonder if this is let's see. I wonder if this is a defensive penalty at the line of scrimmage. No, they're walking backwards.
Yeah, that's Mahi with the hold.
You rarely get the holding penalty on a run play.
Very true.
Well,
but they got it.
But they did.
I came from a school that you're capable of holding on every play.
You came from a school where holding was a class they offered to all freshmen, all incoming freshmen.
Yeah, it was
holding 101.
Yeah, and it was an art class.
The art of holding.
The art of holding.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
First and 20. Faison into the game, and now he gets the carry. Faison busted outside, and look at Faison go down the sideline, and Faison all the way inside the red zone. Oh, they're going to say he stepped out of bounds. It looks like at the 24, but a great carry for Rasul Faison.
Does a beautiful job contorting his body. Watch as he bounces that outside right here, and he's able to get around the corner. And then, as you mentioned, stepping out of bounds right about the 24.
Aggies on the move.
The run game to the rescue.
Faison will stay in there, see if he gets another carry, and there it is. And Faison works his way through for a couple of yards.
You know what I'm going to talk about? The delay.
Yeah, the
delay.
It's the hezzy.
Like that.
It's the hezzy.
Like the Le'Veon Bell. Remember how he used to do that?
Yes.
Just delay, and then he'd run for 15 yards.
Yeah.
That
takes a certain amount of burst to be able to do that.
Yeah. It's fun to watch.
Petrus looking, pass complete. Colby Bowman has another reception.
Oh, here we go. Here's another penalty flag late. Looks like 58. Robert Morris 55 from Utah State got mixed up. And 55, Alo is walking backwards. He's not walking the right direction. I think he's called himself guilty.
He's already conceded.
Yeah, well, he did put his hands up. You know what they say.
Yeah.
You know, when you put your hands up, you're guilty.
That body language says guilty.
Yeah. There's a long conversation about it. You know what Petrus did on that pass play, if you saw, he was looking to the left side of the field. He scanned the left side of the field. He didn't find anything. His offensive line did such a nice job of giving a protection. He could come all the way back across to the middle of the field and complete that pass.
Here's the call.
Red sports line contact. Number 55 will be offense. 15-yard penalty. And then second down.
So Pule Alo, West High School local kid.
Back him up a pretty good ways here. Instead of
We're still discussing this.
second and
We might be discussing where exactly the ball needs to be placed. This is a Mountain West Conference officiating crew.
They have the biggest, they wonder where the ball should be placed. But here's the thing. They have the biggest advantage of all time because, one, they know the number of yards. So it's a 15-yard penalty.
Right.
And then, look, on the field, there's all those stripes designating a yard. Like, you literally just have to walk 15
Frank,
of those.
that's incredible.
And,
You noticed
and then
that.
you put the ball down. So I'm always amazed at,
well, the conversation
where should we put the
continues
ball?
here.
I guess it's where do we start
Fans are getting
counting
a little
the 15?
impatient. Here we go.
Should be a dead ball foul.
After the play, therefore, it will be 15 yards from the previous spot.
Okay.
Okay,
Right.
there you go.
Now we're on something.
Yeah.
Right, if it's a dead
That's
ball foul,
right.
it should be from the end of the play and come back.
And now they're marching it off. Now they're going to give Nate Driley an explanation. 15 yards from the end of the play.
I'll make it second down. Went from second down and 8. I'm not going to try to do the
It's
math
about
live
second
on air
18.
here.
Third and 18, excuse me.
Well, okay. Let's see what we got here. On the yard marker, it's third down.
Yeah.
The scoreboard says
Scoreboard
second.
says
I think it should be second down.
Now it's third down.
Well, it was after
Now
the
it's third.
play,
We have-
so it's third down.
Third down after the play.
You're not getting the down over after the play. Here we go. So third down, line to gain is the 14-yard line. And Spencer Petrus at quarterback. The senior transfer looking to the sideline to get his final instructions. By the way, one of the players sending into the play is Conover. You remember him. He was BYU transfer. That ball just got out of Petrus's hands, and it's caught by Faison. A good yardage. Almost gets the first down out of it. Actually stepped out of bounds about 5 yards shy. So decision time for Nate Driley.
Yes, and because of that play, Alema, by Faison, now the head coach has to decide.
Yeah,
he forces him into this decision.
You do have, it's a good decision to have.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. You have Nimrod. Now, Nimrod's range, I talked to him before the game, is about 55 yards. So this is well within his range.
Easily.
Looks like they'll keep the offense on the field.
Faison stays in there. Fourth down.
I was there, by the way, for your conversation with Nimrod. And you said, how far are you comfortable? He said 55. They said, who are you?
He did not. Timeout taken by Robert Morris. They want to make sure they get this one right.
We need to
fourth down play
time out
coming.
in the booth so I could talk to Alema about this fake news.
So Nate Driley took the timeout and decided to come out and kick it. So it's going to be a 36-yard
I like
attempt.
this decision.
And well within Nimrod's range.
Dryling's a brand new head coach, and sometimes as a brand, you want to make those. You want to make a tough call. Okay, we're going to go for it on fourth down and 5. We're going to do it. And then you get over to the sideline, and somebody got in his ear and said, "Hey, coach,
Let's get 3.
why don't we do this?" And then I think he did make the right decision.
So Nimrod from 36. And that kick, oh my word, look how high that thing sailed. He would have made, you're right, Frank, 55, he might be even better than that.
It could be.
That was a little chip shot for him.
I mean, that hit the top of the windows up there in the Aggies football facility.
He's a lefty. I saw that on the kick. He's a lefty.
Yeah, you don't see a ton of those.
And when he makes contact with the ball, it's like Scotty Scheffler when he hits a long iron. Like, it just is perfect contact. Pure every single time. It's fun to watch him warm up.
Well, Coach was telling us when we were meeting with him, he says, there's a certain sound the ball makes when a guy is really making contact.
The interesting thing is you don't hear coaches, delve into the details about what's going on with their kickers.
Yeah, right.
And kickers are a whole different breed anyway. And
no doubt.
Kind of off to the side. And they're playing hacky sack or something. And to hear Coach Dreiling, kind of get into, in depth about how, the foot hitting the ball sounds. That was interesting.
Yeah. That is interesting.
Yeah, he said when he connects, man, you can certainly tell. All right, kickoff. Here we go. Trinell Ridgely back to receive, but it goes into and out of the end zone. So a 10-7 Aggies lead, 9:30 to play here in the first half. Probably some of the fans that would like to see a few more points than this, and you never know when they're going to erupt. But, first game of the season, a lot of little things to work out. You never can tell.
That's the truth. The things you just can't replicate in practice, and all of a sudden you're scratching. Like we never did that in practice. And then you have that penalty come out in the game. First game. Cramps. We've already had a cramps episode. That's something that's also likely to occur in the first game.
Especially when it's this warm.
We don't often have the cramp situation in the first quarter.
No, that's early. That's usually later in the game.
That's early.
All right, Chickett back to pass under pressure. And that pass is incomplete. Good-looking ball, though, but Robinson not able to hang on to it. And John Ross May on coverage.
I think John Ross May just made that pass uncomfortable enough for the receiver. It was a nice effort as he got himself back into the play.
Agreed. He almost looked like he got his hand out. And at least got in the line of vision.
Second down 10. Edmonds has been busy tonight, but not much there. Maybe a couple of yards.
Yeah, really nowhere to go that time. Great job by this Utah State defense stacking up that right side.
You mentioned that defense, and it looks like they've changed their strategy a little bit at the line of scrimmage because they were trying to get upfield initially in this football game, and I think that allowed Edmonds some running lanes. Now it looks like they're holding the line of scrimmage and reading what's happening in the backfield and trying to close down those running lanes.
Big third down here, 3rd and 7. Line to gains the 35. And it will be an empty backfield for Chickett. Flag just came down. Chickett way overthrows the target. Let's check the flag. Is there another flag downfield?
That's got to be a holding.
Right, there's one at the line of scrimmage.
Noah Robinson
and then one
was pleading his case about 15 yards into his route. I think he was yelling at the officials like, "Are you seeing this?"
Could be offsetting if this first flag is on the offense. This flag came out right as the play started.
So it's probably a procedure penalty, the first flag. The second likely a holding.
Good thing is they don't rank penalties. There you go. So there you go, just as we thought, offsetting penalties. Let's do it over. This student section is phenomenal up here in Logan.
I love this stadium. I love this stadium, the way that it's built, and the fan base, the home crowd, the community, but then the student section is just, they're phenomenal.
All right, third down. Again, they need the 35-yard line. Edmonds in motion. Chickett, he's going to take off. The design quarterback draw, and nothing doing. Flag just came down. Spires is there.
Yeah, that's going to go, I believe, against Robert Morris here.
How active has Spires been for this defense in this game?
Do we think that was a design quarterback?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. But it was a little
Sure
hard to
felt
tell.
like it. He was quick to release, but
Yeah.
at any rate, the Aggies have done their job, and they'll get the football back.
I've been impressed with the Aggie defense.
Freeman at his 33-yard line, waiting the Stephen Ernest punt. And you're right, Frank, he doesn't have near the hang time, although did force a fair catch there, but nothing like Scott Sandley's punts have just been unbelievable.
Yeah. No, he's not putting it up in the air very high. And so return opportunities for Utah State. We'll see how the game wears along.
It looked more like they weren't setting up much of a return. Speaking of the punt return team on that particular play, and allowed coverage to get down there quickly.
All right, back comes the Aggie offense. Robert Briggs checks in behind Spencer Petrus. They've really got this formation spread wide. I mean, you've got Jalen Royals almost on the sideline. He was so wide. That one intended for Kyrese White, incomplete.
I think White, if you hit him in stride there, he might
have scored.
Dancing in the end zone right about now.
Well, Robert Morris did something interesting. You look at their defensive end, 57, Trey Woods, who's going over to the left side right now. He actually dropped deep into coverage from the line of scrimmage and influenced that play right there, the incomplete pass.
Second down 10. Briggs. And this time, that defensive front for Robert Morris is having none of that.
Well, that play as it develops, you're trying to find a seam if you're a running back to be able to cut up through, and they did a great job. Speaking of Robert Morris, their defense kind of just pushing that to the sideline and not giving an opportunity for a cut up the field.
Third down and 10 as the Aggies lined up right next to the Merlin Olsen Field logo. Aggie great. And Petrus is going to take off, and he just does not have that very much. I mean, there's a lot of yardage after the hit, but this might be a first down. We'll see. Somebody will extracurricular, as they say.
There's a lot of stuff happening. It took a long time for that play to be called.
Yeah, it really
dead.
did.
And Robert Morris is saying fourth down.
Yeah, Petrus he was first touched about after a 2-yard gain and then just kept pumping. Here's the call.
Personal foul. Face count. 13
Oh, there you go.
15 penalty on that first down.
So William Barber, the safety, charged with the face mask.
You know, we talk a lot in football about penalties, and it's not always the number of penalties or the yardage from penalties, but the timing of penalties, and that was a tough penalty for Robert Morris to have that. And it's Petrus
is
now getting
down
attended to on the field.
Yeah,
well, I'll tell you
warming up.
one guy who's going to be very familiar with this situation.
Bryson Barnes.
And that is Bryson Barnes, who filled in for 3 years running for Cam Rising as he was injured.
Yeah. And some big
removed.
spots. I mean, the first one was in the Rose Bowl. Nearly brought him back.
No kidding. And then he played every game last year when Cam Rising did not play quarterback for the University of Utah. So Bryson Barnes, very familiar as he is warming up.
Yeah,
number
they're about
16.
the 30-yard line right now. The quarterback's throwing the ball and getting warmed up.
Bryson Barnes is like deja vu all over
and
again.
he's still just a junior.
How is he just a junior?
I don't even know.
Cam Rising's still a senior.
That's a COVID thing.
Cam Rising is a senior.
You get the freebie year.
Yeah.
And it sounded like Cam Rising has an opportunity to come back for one more year.
That's now not true. They thought that. And he's also said that's not going to happen.
Well, geez.
So Barnes,
17
out
years
of Milford, Utah.
Well, Petrus is walking over to the bench here. And the stadium is interesting in the way that it's built as he jumps into the injury tent. But he looked like he was walking a little bit better as he headed into the tent.
Well, for now, it is Barnes and Faison in at the running back spot. So first down right at the 50-yard line, 49-yard line actually. And here we go. Barnes, as you said, Frank, in a very familiar position.
Right.
And he'll give the ball to Briggs. Or excuse me, Faison. He gets about a 2-yard pickup before he's pushed back, so they'll get 2 yards there.
And his helmet was ripped off.
Faison's going to have to come off.
Take a play off.
So Robert Briggs will check into the game, and it's a second down for Barnes.
Do we understand why they do that? Why they make you go out of the game?
Well, remember when there was a time when helmets were coming off just all the time.
Yeah, I think they got tired of it.
And so they were trying to at least put some consequences there so guys were a little more.
First pass for Barnes on 2nd and 8. And what a catch. And Barnes has...
No, the back judge...
Oh, he just overruled him?
He got overruled. Let's see if we can get a replay on this.
By the way, that's
I think he might have been juggling the ball as he was going out of bounds. I'm not sure he had great possession. Full possession as he hit the ground.
It looked like he hit the ground with possession. The Robert Morris coaches are obviously on the sideline giving the juggling signal. Let's see.
There's one more look.
So Page, the
very close
Colorado transfer, actually never played at Colorado, but he was there. Never got into a game. Are they going to review this? Officials are waiting. I don't see the review official making any indication at all to look at it. So apparently they will play on. Be 3rd and 8. Bryson Barnes in at quarterback. Robert Briggs in the backfield. Barnes to throw again. And Barnes to Briggs. And Briggs running that little wheel route. But, I mean, the defender had his back turned the whole time.
Well, they got the mismatch they wanted. You got your running back on a linebacker. Now a late flag coming in again.
Way downfield. Well, really late 11th.
Robert Briggs shoved a Robert Morris play. Now they were verbally going after each other, and then Robert Briggs shoved the player, and the flag came out. I'm assuming that is the penalty on the play.
Here comes the call. And Frank, you are correct. So bottom line is the Aggies are backing up and they're punting it away.
Here's a look at what happened. There's an altercation, helmet to helmet, but which, you might get both guys called on something like that, but if you're the one that ends up pushing, you're going to get the flag.
I hope he wasn't making fun of his helmet, because it's good looking. Your helmet looks like a cow.
Cow helmet.
Again, the hang time on these ones is ridiculous.
I don't know how you could possibly return it.
The entire coverage team was down there surrounding the return man by the time the ball landed.
So we'll keep an eye on things as Spencer Petras, quarterback, has gone into the 10. And Bryson Barnes came out to try to finish off that drive. Now they've had to punt it away. So defense back on the field, leading 10-7.
All right, a little momentum here for Robert Morris.
Anthony Chickett, senior quarterback. 65% passer a year ago for this team, and he fires downfield. It's caught, but was he in bounds?
Yeah, he was out of bounds.
Well, same thing.
Yeah.
One is saying
one was going to say caught, and the
one
other
is
wasn't.
saying not.
Yeah, this one, to me, not nearly as controversial. He would look to be clearly out of bounds as you take a look at the replay.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah. You got to get 1 foot in bounds.
I got a new segment for Frank.
He had no feet in bounds.
Caught or not?
Caught or not.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Caught or not.
Caught or not, I like that a lot.
And that's not.
This is a whole promo right there.
Caught or not.
Caught or not.
Second down 10. Edmonds Edmonds got some room on the outside. Edmonds cuts back. He's got first down yardage up past the 40-yard line.
J.D. Drew slow getting up for the Aggies, and he'll work his way back to the...
The tent's going to get crowded.
Yeah. Well, who do you take into the tent? If your quarterback's in the tent and then the defensive back gets hurt,
he's got to wait.
Quarterback's got priority.
Yeah, he's got to wait.
Quarterback.
We're looking down on the sideline
right
now, and just to the south of the tent, you can see that Petrus is talking talking with some of the medical staff for
putting a little weight
Utah
on
State.
that leg. Yeah. So we'll monitor that situation. Right now it's a first down. And Edmonds again. Flag just came in late, so we'll check that.
That's likely a holding.
I've had a lot of penalties here. Jordan Vincent on the stop for the Aggies, another New Mexico State transfer.
Petrus appears to be still limping just a bit. Again, here at Maverick Stadium, the sidelines and then where the stands are very it's very short.
Very close, yeah.
Having played at the stadium for the visiting team, you are right next to the student section, and they are right on top of you. And Frank, you know.
And they're very friendly.
Yeah.
They're very friendly in that student section. They are very communicative.
Yeah, friendly means hostile.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that.
So Jaden Rowling charged with an offensive face mask. Offensive lineman.
Yeah, that's usually hands to the face. And Petrus is going to the locker room.
Yeah, he is on his way with 5:46 to play here in the first half. And big hit after a pickup of a couple. Edmonds went to the bench.
That was Jackson. Defensive line. He was able to shed his blocker and make the stop.
I like this running game from Robert Morris, and they've done a nice job against what we think is a very good defensive front seven for Utah State.
Second and long, 22 yards. The line to gain is the 48 on the other side of the football field. And a good open field tackle by DJ Graham, Oklahoma transfer, the junior. A lot of good defensive players on this team, and they run a lot of them in and out. When I got their depth chart, I was looking at it. It goes 3 deep in some positions.
J.D. Drew is not back on the field yet.
It's his turn in the tent. No, the tent's
down.
Yeah.
They didn't even put the tent up.
They didn't put it up. Third down, 19. Anthony Chickett at quarterback. Needs 19 yards. Let's see if they can get it out of the backfield. Jordan Vincent right there. He's having none of that. Miguel Jackson also in on that one. Another transfer. He's from Charlotte. So the defense has stepped up one more time. Now this will be interesting to watch this punt too, because the Aggie punts that you guys have been talking about have just been hanging.
Yeah.
But the Robert Morris punts have been more really kind of drilled. Stephen Ernest, the junior punter.
Well, watch and see if they come after this or if they set up the return. They're going to set up the return.
Oh, he got a hold of this one. Got down there quickly.
Yeah, that should be a flag.
No, he caught a fair catch, but then he dropped the ball.
So that's fair game there. Yeah. But fortunately, he recovered.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Take a look here. Take a look. Calls for a fair catch, but it goes through his hands.
Yeah, now he's fair game.
Well, if that's the case, then he's still up.
Well, he's still up now. Yeah. What? Okay. We're going to have to get this.
Yeah.
We're going to have to get clarification for that.
No, that's an easy call. You drop the ball.
They drop the.
They can hit
the ball, but you still can't advance it because you did call for a fair catch.
Unless you muff it.
No, but even if you muff it, you've called for fair catch. You can't advance it.
And that's what happened. So there you go. All right, so Bryson Barnes at quarterback as Spencer Petrus has gone to the locker room. Phase on the running back. Barnes pass caught. And Otto Tia 8 yards on first down.
Bryson Barnes, did you see the tight end streaking down the field?
Do you think that was one of those? I'm going to come back to that a little later.
That may be. That may be. But he sure had it looked like Brock Lane streaking down the field wide open.
Well, Lane came back to him immediately. They'll play fake Barnes again. And Barnes' pass almost intercepted. What? There was a collision. Jalen Royals got popped on that route. No flag.
Bryson Barnes takes a shot as he delivers that ball as well.
Yeah, you watch.
Take a look here.
We got the defensive back. He's breaking on the ball. Actually, I'm not sure if he was even looking at the ball.
How is that?
I'm not sure how the flag was not, thrown there, but.
Yeah, interesting.
All right, 3rd and a yard. Rasul Faison in the backfield. He's going to try to get it. Got to get outside. The flag just came in.
There's going to be a holding call here.
Probably. Although if it's 4th and 1, I guess you probably want to take the penalty. Or do you risk 4th and 1?
This would be a dangerous place to go for it on 4th down, in my opinion.
Yeah, so they will decline. It'll be 4th and 1. Dangerous, but tempting.
Yeah, the punt team is headed to the field.
So that settles that. Under 3 minutes to play first half, and a 10-7 Aggies lead. What has been a little bit of a sluggish game.
Yeah, it started off with a really nice drive that ended in an interception from Petrus. And then it has kind of stalled just a bit.
Look at this.
Trinell Ridgely. Nothing he can do with this other than fake like he's going to catch it. But it rolls into the end zone. Aggies try to get down there. But it'll be 20-yard line for Robert Morris.
As the season progresses, the punt cover team is going to recognize that I'm going to go to we're going to send somebody to the goal line. And to look up in the air and see if that ball is still hanging up there, which it was.
Yeah, you had two of the punt coverage looking at the receiver instead of playing the ball, and unfortunately goes into the end zone for the touchback.
67-yard punt.
And a 70-second hang time.
All right, back comes Robert Morris. 10-7 score here. 2:45 to play first half. And Anthony Chichett. Chickett's pass caught. Robinson knocked out of bounds. Francois.
That was a strong throw.
It sure was. And Robert Morris has really settled in here at the line of scrimmage.
You know, you schedule these, they call them money games. Let's be honest, you schedule them because you're hoping to get a win out of it. But it's tough. These teams aren't going to just come in and roll over, and Robert Morris has really held their own in this game.
Yeah, and the team that is scheduled to get the check, right, they want more than the check. Yeah. They want the win.
We're going to leave with a little cash, and heck, if we could get a win on top of that, going around that left side, not much room. Taz Williams there to clog things up, along with a couple of his buddies.
That'll be the 2-minute warning here.
Yeah, something new in college football. We see in the NFL, of course, every week. The 2-minute timeout. They don't call it the 2-minute warning here. They call it the 2-minute timeout. Yeah. Beautiful night here in Logan. Absolutely gorgeous this time of year. And the Aggies right now clinging to a 3-point lead with the football when we come back. We are back. 2-minute timeout. Not warning, 2-minute timeout. This has expired, and here we go. Robert Morris with the football. Oh man.
Did you see? That was a big offensive lineman for Robert Morris. Was that 76?
I believe it was.
Adewole? Like, did you see him? He tried to reset. He took
it might have been the tight end.
It may have been. It took a step back. I don't know. I looked like the offensive tackle, but it was just funny watching him try to reset. Like maybe they didn't see that.
2nd down 12. Chickett dumps off Powell. Ball's low, incomplete. How about Blaine Spires, number 9?
So active.
All over the place.
This ball came out of Chickett's hand like Phil Necro threw it. That was a complete knuckleball.
It came out like he wanted to get rid of it in a hurry.
Yeah, I don't want to be caught with this thing. Hot potato.
3rd and 12.
Good stand here by this Utah State defense. We'll see if Robert Morris has a 3rd and 12 play in the bag.
Well, the Aggies would love to get one more offensive possession here.
It's Powell in motion. Chickett pass caught. And oh my goodness, great blocking downfield. Not only do they have the first down, a few more, and how about Powell?
And a 3rd and 30 play in their playbook.
They sure did.
Perfectly executed.
How many times tonight have we seen crossing routes pick up big yardage?
Well, Powell started clear over on the right side and went all the way around and back again. And here he goes carrying the football.
Ooh. Whoa.
Clyde Washington plugging things up, the transfer from Purdue.
He sure did.
He looked like a Purdue linebacker on that one.
Didn't he?
Came up and looked. I remember when I first got to college and I was hitting college linebackers, right? Like Kurt Govea and Leon White. I was like hitting a bronze statue.
Yeah. All of a sudden, you're not going forward anymore.
No. I was like, oh my gosh, what just happened?
Yes.
I think the center, Luke Beltavsky.
Yeah,
and he's mad at himself for that. So they're going to back this up.
It almost looked like he kind of lost his balance and stumbled over as he was trying not to snap the ball.
More discussion from the officials here.
You've never had to do this because you were a quarterback, but I remember, a number of times.
I hate when you start stories that way.
As a running back, and you start to lean a little, and you can't stop it.
Yeah, and then you get the arms going. Yep.
Timeout. 30-second timeout.
So we can take a timeout.
I had that happen one time, and I was going to fall forward. So I just took a step forward and went into motion.
Yes.
The quarterback must have been like, where are you going?
You could make a reel of that, and I would watch it all day long. All those things.
Did you get another play, or were they through with you at that point?
Well, no, they were like, that's how creative. He went into motion.
Look, Hulk Hogan's here.
And what do you know? I mean, in that offense, in the Lavelle Edwards days, those guys were moving all over the place. Who knew how
that Norm Chow offense? That's back when Mike Holmgren was one of our assistant offensive coaches.
Yeah. They probably just figured that you had a play that they had forgotten.
Speaking of Lavelle Edwards, Lavelle Edwards has a little tie to Utah State University, doesn't he?
He's an alum here.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. 2nd down 12. We're going to run that. Oh, it's a double reverse. This is going to be a pass, but nowhere to go. Sean Charles fires downfield, and it's caught.
And no lineman downfield.
Word. That is unbelievable.
That might be the most impressive part of that play is that there wasn't a lineman illegally downfield.
Mm-hmm.
And how about the patience of Charles? I thought he was done. Yeah. So 3rd and a yard. Powell gets the yard, and more twists out of that. Powell headed to the end zone, and Powell stiff arms, and he's in. And Robert Morris, how about that, has taken the lead on the Aggies.
What was the conversion that they had on that? 3rd and 20.
It was 3rd and 13.
3rd and 13.
And they converted.
And they got 12, and then 1 yard to go, they get a touchdown.
You're talking about this play right here. We're talking about the long play that put them in this position.
Because they got 30 yards on that.
Yep.
Yeah, crazy.
So what a response by Robert Morris.
2 massive plays.
Just a fantastic run. Did a little pirouette about 3 yards past the line of scrimmage and a stiff arm at the goal line to get him into the end zone.
And, guys, I think this crowd is stunned right now.
Yes. Well, stunned because I think we all had high expectations, and certainly on the Aggie sideline, high expectations of that defensive front seven. And that's the area of the football field that's been exploited in this series by Robert Morris.
By the way, that's Taz Williams walking on the sideline.
I think it's Ike Larson.
Yeah, that's Larson.
No, it's Larson.
6, yeah.
Well, they can ill afford that.
No, you don't want that guy going.
Yeah, you can't lose Petrus and Larson.
Those are two guys we talked about in our open.
Right.
All right, point after to go up by 4. And Robert Morris has come in here and just stunned these Aggies.
41 seconds on the clock for an answer from Utah State.
Bryson Barnes warming up again on the sideline here. See how they want to play it with 41 seconds.
A lot of football to go. But
yes, we do.
Not the way the Aggies wanted to see this first half going. You go into the locker room and your quarterback we're not sure what his status is.
You got a former
safety is banged up.
You got a former BYU quarterback in Conover.
Behind Bryson Barnes.
With Bryson Barnes, former Utah quarterback, warming up on the sidelines to take the field for the Aggies.
Behind the former Iowa
quarterback.
There's a former.
Yes.
For your side. The quarterback room was completely blown apart.
Yeah.
Gone.
At Utah State.
Cooper Legaw moved on.
And McKay Hillstead went down to BYU.
Yeah.
Well, this is going to be a series. We'll see what happens on the kickoff, but this will probably be a series for Utah State. You see what happens. You get the ball, see what happens on first down.
Right.
If you get a big chunk of yardage, maybe you go for something here.
And that kick into and out of the end zone. Levi Williams, another quarterback this year last year, went into the military. So you're right. It's a whole new group.
Well, the transfer portal is extremely active, regardless of position. This is anecdotal. I don't have any, statistics to support this, but it feels like quarterbacks are the most active in the transfer portal, in part, Frank, because on every team there's only one guy that can play quarterback, right?
Yeah.
At any given time.
At any given time.
And
that's
you don't platoon your quarterback position. You might other positions.
All right, here we go with Bryson Barnes at quarterback. And Barnes, he's going to take off and run, and he's got a first down. So stop the clock while they move the chains.
He's very quick to get up and back to the line of scrimmage.
That was a very Bryson Barnes type play right there.
Barnes on first down. Fires incomplete.
Good defensive play.
Well defended by Tyvon Edmonds.
Trying to hit Brock Lane. It's a good tight end room up here
Carter
as well.
Defending.
24 seconds. Aggies 64 yards away from the end zone. Bryson Barnes, pass complete. Got to get out of bounds. Look at him just drag his way out of bounds. That was Brock Lane again.
Couple of very smart plays. Bryson Barnes with the first down. Doesn't get out of bounds. Quickly gets to the line of scrimmage. Now you got a player that he was down, got up, and then went back down again.
That's D. Pierce.
Again, with cramps. Becoming a problem for Robert Morris.
And Utah State's only about 13 or 14 yards away from field goal range.
Yeah.
So that's with 18 seconds remaining, very manageable.
Yeah, you got a couple of timeouts.
Yeah, so the Aggies could find themselves in scoring position.
I'll tell you this much: if this were like soccer, there'd be about 5 minutes of extra time.
and a lot of cold spray,
because there has been a ton of this in this first half.
It's the only problem with the game of soccer.
Oh, the extra time thing?
The flopping.
Yeah.
And the injuries that are
strike a
never
nerve?
that injuries that are never really injuries.
But it's become so much a part of soccer. What would soccer be without
it?
A better sport. That's what it would be.
Okay.
This coming from a guy who's raised, 4 soccer players?
Just three.
Soccer players. A
Just
couple of
only
them in
3.
college.
Yeah.
Yeah, not just soccer players, great
Good
soccer
ones.
players. I can't imagine what the conversation at the dinner table is like with Dad.
Oh,
It's
man.
like this. If you get injured, don't stay rolling around on the field. Just get up. Just get up.
First down. Barnes wants to go deep. And good coverage.
Whoa! Are you
interception.
kidding me?
Holy smokes.
That's
Carter. He one-handed that.
That is a Sports Center highlight right there.
Indeed.
Rob Carter.
Oh, he's going to get a flag. He took his helmet off on the field.
On the field.
Oh, who cares? You make a play like that, you want everybody to see you.
I don't know if anybody's mad at him for it.
No, that is, if you saw that play, I mean, you're never going to see a play
Wow.
like that live again.
It's almost like as he was backing up and adjusting to the ball while it was in the air, he said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go up and one-hand this thing.
No, wow. You know what? Odell Beckham Jr. was like, wow. What a catch.
That's amazing.
Unbelievable.
3 interceptions now in this game for Robert Morris. That one the most.
Yeah, you take a
spectacular.
penalty and you're okay with that. You just take a knee and head to the locker room.
Number 3 of the defense. After the defensive ball, and the wrong ball, first down.
That was spectacular. Get one more look at it here.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, my gosh. First of all,
he went up in the air. He did a full twist in the air.
you know what? First of all, he caught the ball one-handed, and he executed the flip in the air.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to give him a 10.
Yeah, did not bring the offhand to the
Even
ball.
the crowd here was.
It was like, wow, that's an
Hey,
unbelievable
you're right, Frank.
play.
That is a Sports Center highlight. Tell you what, the Colonials are loving this, leading 14-10. They've come clear across the country to play football in Logan tonight, and they have really flexed their muscles against these Aggies. 14-10 is our halftime score. And for those of you watching locally here on KMYU, we're going to send it back to our studios. David James has a halftime report coming your way. And we'll be back. Second half coming up here in Logan. It's Aggie football on KMYU television locally and on the Mountain West Network.
Seventeen carries for Utah State.
Now, the big news here is that Spencer Petras, the starting quarterback, the Iowa transfer, left the game late in the first half. And the reports we're getting is that he will not be back for this game anyway.
Yeah.
So Bryson Barnes came in, and he struggled a little bit, guys. 2 of 7 and an interception, just 22 yards.
Bryson Barnes is known as a guy who finishes strong. So I expect Bryson Barnes to get control of the football game. And I really expect, Dilemma, Utah State after that halftime to re-engage at the line of scrimmage and take control of that area of the football field.
Bryson Barnes, by the way, best nickname in college football.
The Pig Farmer?
The Pig
It's
Farmer.
not even a nickname. It's what he did.
That's an actual.
That was his job.
That's
Okay,
his job.
well, just so I can help you out. Nicknames
Yeah,
are
best-
typically
that would
given
be-
to you because of something that you do.
That would be like saying best nickname in broadcasting, Dave Fox, the broadcaster. Like that's what he does.
I get your point, Olivia. You're right. On the other side of the ball, Robert Morris will have the football first, and Anthony Chickett has gone 14 of 19, 132 yards and a touchdown. He's having a heck of a game, guys.
I think he's played well, and he's been helped out by a stout run game.
Well, here we go.
Just mentioning, Frank, that both these teams identical rushing yards. in the first half of this game.
Yeah, how about that? I don't see that very often. By the way, good news, Ike Larson, we saw him kind of limp off the field at the end of the first half. He is back in there now. The Aggies definitely need him. Quick pass, Scott. Charles and John Ross May on the stop. May gets up, says, hey, we're ready to go here. We've been through halftime. Coach has yelled at us.
I always like to ask that question, what was your halftime message? And they're always so cerebral. Well, we talked about, but like, the whiteboards are crashing and things are being thrown around and water jugs are exploding and all this stuff.
Very little gain on first down. Edmonds pushing the pile. They'll get maybe a couple yards. So first big third down. It's May again who comes out of the pile. First one to hit him. So 3rd and 7.
So they'll put their nickel package in the game.
Coming in.
Yeah.
Dean inspires. The defensive ends have really been good. This could be one of those situations where they shine. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on this. 4-man front, defensive front for the Aggies. Chickett with 5 wide receivers. Here they come. Firing downfield high and incomplete, and the Aggies have held again. Torrin Union on the coverage.
If they're going to throw a pass like that, they should throw it to Carter. Because he'll just go up and stab it with one hand.
Yeah, he'll go up with a 40-inch vertical and corral that thing, do a little spin.
And yet you always hear people say that the defensive backs are wide receivers that can't catch.
Yeah,
and he just
truth.
proved that wrong.
Yeah, he did.
Kick is away. Fair catch called for. He's going to let this one bounce.
Wow, that's his best kick of the night.
Yeah, by far. We'll roll down all the way to the 15-yard line. All right, so first down for the Aggies, and Bryson Barnes will be at quarterback. The young man from Milford, Utah, transferred here from the University of Utah, as Frank pointed out in the first half, really made a career out of filling in when Cam Rising kept getting hurt. Had a rough go in that first half.
He did. We'll see if he settles in.
Yeah, it's a guy that, could have. If Cam Rising wasn't coming back, maybe he's starting at the University of Utah this year.
No doubt.
Barnes pass. That is complete. Jalen Royals with the catch. Helmet off.
That looked like the helmet got ripped off.
Yeah.
But he still has to go off the field.
Yeah, unless it's a penalty flag that comes in for the helmet being taken off by the defender.
No. And I had that helmet on before the game.
Yeah, how was it?
Well, it was tight. Like, I don't know how someone's going to rip that off. My whole head would have come off with it.
It's a great-looking helmet. Faison in the backfield, and he's got the football. And not much doing there. Keon Freeman among those that stacked him up, but no room at all. You were talking about that offensive line needs to make some adjustments. They didn't on that play. 3rd and short.
Yeah, I was impressed with the run game early on for Utah State, and it slowed down a little bit.
Third and 1. Faison again, and just squirts through that line. Still up. Bonus yardage for Rasul Faison, and up to the 32-yard line. First down. Take a look.
Just great leg drive here. Decent blocking up front is just guys man on man, and you got to find a way to make a play and drag a few guys along with you, and he did that.
William Barber now down.
You think it's cramps?
On the field. It certainly looks like it.
Looking at that left leg a little bit. That was terrific running by Faison. keep the drive alive. What were the third down conversions in that first half of play? Because that could be, that's one of those stats I like to take.
3 of 8 for Robert Morris, 2 of 8 for Utah State.
Okay, not great.
We'll take a break while they sort this out. Aggie football on KMYU TV locally. And all right, back here in Logan, William Barber's
Smoky Maverick Stadium.
Yeah, what's going
Is there
on?
a fog settling in?
You almost feel like, oh, did we have fireworks during halftime? No, it's actually the fire pit, the barbecues that are out here on the south side
I hope we get
of
some
the
of it.
stadium.
It smells delicious. But it makes for kind of an interesting atmosphere. A spooky fall beginning to football.
First down, Bryson Barnes, the quarterback, gives to Faison, trying to get to the outside, and he does. And Faison still up. And another great run.
I mentioned this in the first half. He had a run where he contorted his body. He does it again this time, and he absorbs a little bit of this blow right here, and is able to stay on his feet and pick up more yards.
Oh, it's so good. He just doesn't give you a full target to hit.
Second and short. Here he comes again. Bounces outside. Oh, it's going to be short. He's going to lose about half a yard. So third and a little over a yard to go. Do you think Bryson Barnes started this day thinking, I'm going to play more than half this game?
Well, why not? I mean, that's been his whole college experience.
Yeah,
It's
nothing
like
new for him.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I talked to him.
He told all of his family, he's like, don't worry, I'm going to play plenty.
Don't worry, I'm going to get in. Yeah.
Faison in the backfield this time. Barnes to throw, and he's got Faison, and they've got the first down and out of bounds.
He's so good, Faison, at absorbing that first contact.
My dad, who was a legendary running back right back in Hawaii and then on to Stanford University, and as he was coaching me as a young pup, and he was teaching me about the dead leg. Right?
The dead leg.
You kind of give him your leg and let it absorb, and he's got all kinds of moves, speaking of Faison.
Screen pass, White. Rice, he's already got one touchdown, and he's about to get a second. Tyrese White has accounted for both of the Aggie touchdowns tonight.
And look who's the first guy in the end zone to congratulate him. Bryson Barnes.
How do you get down there so fast?
How about this?
Scoring
I'll tell
makes
you,
you fast.
White, his first touchdown, which was at the same end zone earlier in the first half of this game, similarly, he just turned on the Jets and just got past everybody.
I think that is a star in the making.
Agreed.
Right there. And if you can find that guy with a little bit of space or on that crossing route like they caught him the first time, boy, just get ready because he's headed for the goalpost.
Just 2 catches last year, 36 or 6 yards to his credit, and tonight he is just racking up the numbers.
How about that? Tyrese White scores again, and the Aggies retake the lead here on KMYU TV locally and the Mountain West Network. Back here in Logan, beautiful night, and the Aggies have retaken the lead.
What a gorgeous shot. Love this stadium.
I was just going to say that there are some beautiful areas in Utah, but there's nothing like a fall evening in Logan with the mountains behind this incredible stadium filled with the students and the fans. Like, this is a perfect football atmosphere.
In a couple, 3 weeks, as the colors start to change, and you come up through Sardine Canyon, if you're coming up through Salt Lake, for those that might visit the state of Utah that are listening, well, that's just, and for those that are listening that live here, that's one of the great drives. It's the drive through Sardine Canyon when the colors are changing, when the leaves are changing color. Gorgeous.
We always get up here every year in addition to our Aggie responsibilities with high school football, and just love going to Logan for high school football as well as the Aggies.
Yeah, we get a couple of high school rivalries that we cover regularly.
Absolutely.
And there's a fine dining establishment
Yes,
here.
there is, right on the way. We call it Yum. Maddox. Edmonds had a good first half. Looking for more.
Edmonds, I think, has been very impressive.
Absolutely.
John Miller on
shifty,
the
low
stop.
to the ground runner.
He's averaging 6.8 yards per carry. Is that any good?
That's
not bad.
Doggone good.
We broadcasted a high school football game last night with a young man that averaged
230
6 yards a carry.
Chris
Yeah.
Jansen.
Yeah, he was something else. Oh, here comes that jet sweep.
Yeah, I love
Sean Charles.
He's not going to get the first down.
Aggies wrap him up.
Terrific defense.
Torrin Union, first one there. I mean,
that-
you've been singing his praises the whole game.
And that's what you ask your defense to do, is you got to try to push that thing to the sideline and not give them the opportunity to turn it upfield. That's exactly what happened there.
If you would have played on the defensive side of the ball, what position would you have played?
Safety.
Yeah, I think you'd have been a good.
Did your brother your twin?
Yeah, Tal was a safety.
Yeah, okay.
He played safety, quarterback, fullback.
3rd and a yard.
The Robert Morris coaches are going nuts on the sideline trying to get the lineup, and now they'll have to take a timeout.
Yeah, something was awry there.
You know, speaking of Robert Morris, Bernard Clark Jr., we spoke about him earlier, the head coach.
Yeah.
How about this? To be honored as a 2024 Man of Excellence by the new Pittsburgh Courier. Have you ever received an award like that, Dave? Like a Man of Excellence?
No, I don't think so. Excellence and my name are rarely spoken in the same sense.
Especially within the confines of the Fox household.
Absolutely. Good for him.
Yeah, he's a guy that understands building character and
building
young men is at least as important.
Yeah, and I like that you said it that way, because the truth is most of these guys will not be playing football much, after their college days.
3rd and 1. Edmonds. Oh, I think he got it.
He got it.
They gave
the
him the
forward
spot,
progress, yes, was to the 36.
Yeah, 1st down for the Colonials.
But to your point, right, we always talk about the importance of athletics and football specifically. We, having played that game and the lessons that are taught to young men as they play this game.
Chickett. Screen. Edmonds. Ooh, oh, man, what a hit. Is that Vincent? Yeah. Jordan Vincent.
Does it feel like this Utah State defense is flying around here a little bit more?
Oh, yeah.
In the second half so far?
Maybe there were some voices raised in that locker room, as you suggested.
I don't know that I've been in a locker room at a halftime where voices were
weren't
not
raised?
raised.
Yeah.
Well, you were
That's
in a
a good
locker
point.
room with Lavelle Edwards. I can't imagine Lavelle Edwards
Yeah, but
raising
the
his
position
voice.
coaches, they do all the coaching.
You got a lot of assistants.
That's, you know that.
I
Frank.
was in a locker room with Ron McBride, and I never heard him in a quiet voice.
Yeah. 2nd and 8. Chickett, down he goes.
Oh, that should be a fumble.
It should be. Spires got to him. They're fighting for the ball.
Yeah.
Aggies say they got it.
Flag down.
Now, he looked like he was trying to throw that ball forward.
It did. It did look like he was trying to throw the ball forward, but I don't know if he got forward motion with his arm, and then the ball popped out.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that flag that is on the ground is a grounding flag or if it was in lieu of a beanbag to mark where he went down. We'll have to let them sort this out. I'm going to say that he did throw that ball.
Okay, we're going to get a
we're
replay
gonna
right
take
here.
a look at it right here.
I don't think he threw it. I think that's a fumble.
I need a different angle here, because that is coming from the end zone. From our vantage point, it looked like he still had a forward motion with the arm.
Here comes the call.
Mitchell Brownlee, number 7 of the offense, going to throw the foul, with off the down.
Well, Fox, it's just like we said, intentional grounding from Robert Morris.
Wow.
So here's a different angle. Still, it might be hard to see the arm coming forward.
I'm not going to give that intentional grounding.
Again, both of those angles were a little bit from the rear. I'm talking from our vantage point. I could tell that he was
It
throwing
looked more like intentional fumbling.
It looked, yeah, IF, intentional fumbling. I think that was a fumble. I think Robert Morris got a little bit lucky on that one.
So at the end of it all, it's a 3rd and 13. And Chickett alone in the backfield. Good protection for Chickett. Throws well short of the line to gain. And John Miller again on coverage. So 4th and 6 coming. They'll almost certainly punt this one away, I would think.
And that was a play that the Aggies were willing to allow.
Yes.
Keeping things in front of them, understanding down and distance. You allow that, but you make the tackle as soon as the ball is caught.
Yes. Earlier in the game, Utah State got caught in a little pressure situation on a 3rd and long, and that led to a touchdown for Robert Morris.
Ernest kick. Drills another one, but this will take a bounce and roll out of bounds. Nicely done. About the 10-yard line. 11-yard line as well. They're spotted, so out will come Bryson Barnes, the Utah transfer quarterback. When we come back, Aggies scored on their last possession. See if they could do it again here on KMYU TV and the Mountain West Network. Back here in Logan, good group of Aggie fans. They always are well represented here. Bryson Barnes back into the ballgame at quarterback. Spencer Petrus left with an injury in the first half, and we understand will not return. Robert Briggs is in at running back. And the only guy that's scoring touchdowns today is Kyrese White.
He's been fun to watch.
He's got both of them. He's been so much fun. All right, first down for Barnes coming out of the backfield. Briggs. And Briggs twists out of one tackle and another one and finally pushed out of bounds, but not before he gets up near the 30-yard line.
You know, I tell you, they've got some weapons for both Petrus and Barnes to connect with or hand the ball off to. Faison had a great year last year. Robert Briggs is a dynamic runner. Kyrese White, you know, now
Deep
emerging.
Deep ball, open receiver, White again.
Yeah, you know, you could see the official reaching for that flag
before it even got there.
Yeah, as that contact was going down the field. Looks like the receiver just got held up.
Kyrese White.
By the way, Kyrese White coming out of Roy High School, which is the most famous alum to come out of there is Jim McMahon.
Right.
But currently playing, you've got Kyrese White out of Roy High School in Kingston, who plays for BYU, both Roy High School kids. So a smaller school in, you know, northern Utah.
Yeah.
Wait, don't forget Jackson Dart.
Jackson Dart, but who finished at Corner Canyon. But you know what? He really is a Roy guy.
He's really a Freddie Fernandez.
He is a Freddie Fernandez Roy guy.
Yeah.
But for you know, a smaller school, producing some pretty impressive talent.
Very.
Jackson Dart's got one of the more unique NIL deals in college football with a charter airplane company. It's just phenomenal. They love him back there. Barnes takes off, and Bryson, good yardage, bringing up a 3rd and short.
And I think this is something a little different that Bryson Barnes brings you, right?
You're exactly right, Alema. That is the element that Bryson Barnes, he doesn't, when you look at him and when you watch him more, he doesn't look like he's going to be a guy that's running an option or a spread option kind of attack. But then he gets out on the edge and he finds himself north and south.
Barnes pass, batted up in the air. Incomplete. He was trying to hit Jalen Royals. By the way, Petrus is on the sideline right now, but he's in street clothes and has a boot on his left leg, walking behind the stands there.
This thing popped up in the air. It was like a couple of guys had opportunities for interceptions. So the Aggies will have to punt this one away. I'm gonna do the hang time count here.
Get your watch out.
Do you have an app for that?
Yeah, it's called.
You better hurry.
Clock.
Hang time.
Here we go. And boom. Oh, man, another huge kick. And the fair catch called for
that
the 25.
Can't be right.
Whoa. Got a flag down here.
That can't possibly be correct.
It says 5.15. It seems like it was longer than that. But
do you think it was longer than that?
No, I'm saying 5.15 is a long time.
It is long.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't give him enough room to catch the ball. They didn't give him the proper distance.
I mean, you could have run a 40-yard dash by in 5.15 seconds.
That's a good point.
I could run 40 yards and back in 5 minutes.
Fans don't like this. They're going to move the football all the way up to the 40-yard line.
I'll tell you, punt return guys are a different breed because they're able to focus and concentrate with all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Guys yelling at them.
Right in their face.
Trying to track
yeah.
a punt is a lot harder than it might seem.
All right, Edmonds takes the first carry on this play, and good yardage again for Tyvon Edmonds. What a game he's had. All the way, pick up about 7.
You know, all of the running backs in this game, Edmonds, Moyer, Faison, Briggs for Utah State. Every one of them, there's not one guy that's taller than 5'11". They're all shorter guys, low to the ground, hard runners, good leg drive.
2nd and short. Edmonds again. And this time, he's caught. John Ross May. Tackle for loss.
Great penetration off the side there. And Lawrence Falatea, one of the defenders that disrupted the timing of that play in the backfield.
Crowd comes to life here as a 3rd and 6.
Otherwise known as Herd Down here at Maverick Stadium.
Herd down.
The herd.
Herd down.
Chicken. And that ball right in between a couple of defenders. Torrin Union, not even close
That felt
to
like
the target.
That felt like we saw this in film. We know exactly what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Down, distance, formation, motion. I know exactly where this is going, and perfect position by the secondary.
Yeah. So excellent work off the field by the coaching staff and by the football team, understanding the situation.
We were talking to Coach Dreiling, first game of the season, right? You know, there's coaching changes, personnel changes. You almost don't know what to expect. But there's some things that you can count on. It's like, this is what they do.
Well, you know, you talk about coaching changes. My understanding is there's 10 new coaches. 10 new coaches for Utah State. Like, that is an unbelievable task to try and get all of those guys. And now you're talking about 10 new coaches plus transfers, plus putting together a
freshmen.
football. Yeah. So that's a tremendously difficult task.
It's been a rough offseason, no doubt, for the Aggies, with a lot of controversy. And, of course, last year's coach, Blake Anderson, was let go. And other athletic department leaders. Just been rather tumultuous, shall we say.
Yeah, a lot of what could be distractions happening around what happens on the football field.
And some very popular people as well. All right, Barnes, back to work. Barnes downfield. What a catch by Jalen Royals. He jumped up and went and got that ball.
Well, that's a classic back shoulder throw.
Yeah, no kidding.
Classic back
He threw this over the defender's shoulder, and Royals went back and got it.
He got mossed.
Yeah, he did. He went 2 shoulders. He went the back 2 shoulder throw. You don't see that very often.
Faison gets to the outside. Flag came in the middle of this. He picks up about 6, but hold on.
I've seen more holding calls on run plays this game than I think I've seen ever in my history of watching football. Do you think that's an emphasis this year, is looking for holding on run plays? Because it's hardly ever called.
Well, that's a possibility, but the difference is when you have a passing play, anyway, we can continue the conversation, but the penalty was a face mask.
No, I was just saying, outside of this particular penalty.
By the way, just checking in, we talk about a deep tight end room. Number 86, that's Will Money. He played at Springville High School. We were there last night for football.
Well, that was quite a
He's
game
getting
last
some
night.
time. Yeah, it was.
I want to get back to the conversation that we were having, though, about holding on run plays.
Yeah, let's do that.
First down. Fake to Faison. There's the pass outside, and Tia could not hold on.
Yeah, I'm not sure how Bryson Barnes got that ball away. It was a little like a Mahomes sidearm throw around the rusher.
I was thinking of Kent Tekulve. Do you remember Kent Tekulve, the pitcher? I think he pitched for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he used to throw that sidearm.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like, that sidearm delivery.
How about Mahomes behind the back pass here?
Yeah.
Did that steal the headlines in the preseason?
Now he's just showing off doing stuff like that.
Barnes going downfield for Royals and overthrew everybody. Rob Carter actually had a step on Royals, so that was going to be a tough catch.
We got a couple of guys at the 30-yard line that were having a little like a pre-fight.
Oh, just kind of shadow boxing while
like just an appetizer before the fight. Yeah, the warm-up bag.
The kind of fight that happens at the press conference. It was one of those.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Nose to nose. Nothing to see here. Third down. Another sidearm pass. Brock Lane. And the pursuit of the Colonials is phenomenal on
Lane
that
just
play.
would not go down. He kept on getting popped, and so I'm staying on my feet. I think I can break out of this.
So fourth down. Are we in Elliott Nimrod range here?
Oh yeah. Within the 35-yard line, that's in his range.
This would be right at 50 yards.
Yeah.
If he hits this right, it'll go 5 or 6 deep into the stands over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. From 50 to extend the lead. Good hold. Good looking kick. And Frank, you were right. It hit the wall. So you're right. He's got another 5 yards, and that's what he told you, right?
Yeah.
So the Aggies extend the lead 20-14. 2:38 to play here in the third quarter.
Okay. Hold on the run play.
So holding on the run play. So it could be a point of emphasis with officiating crews because the holding on a pass play seems to be a little more obvious because guys, offensive linemen specifically, are in a backpedal in a pass blocking position. Now the difference is the holding on a run play would happen more often when somebody is trying to seal, and you get your arm outside of the frame. So that happens pretty regularly, but on run plays, the officials aren't always looking for that.
Rarely called, but it would be silly to think that holding only occurs on passing plays.
By the way, that 50-yarder, guys, for Nimrod, that's his career long.
Well, he has another 5 yards in that leg.
Yeah, he does. As Frank discussed with him pregame, because they're buddies.
Friend to all.
After this game, the Aggies get to head to Southern California and take on USC. And then they come back home and take on Utah.
What are the expectations for USC this year?
Well, I mean, now that they're in the Big Ten, that's a great question. I mean, who knows, really?
Well, not great if they don't get that defense figured out.
Yeah, no kidding.
They finally got rid of the defensive coordinator, and so they're going to have a new defensive scheme and strategy this year. Offensively, I think Lincoln Riley does a good job. But he doesn't have Caleb Williams, and that's
the question.
benefit.
You lose a dynamic player, a Heisman Trophy winner.
Second down, 8. Will counter there. And Edmonds bouncing ahead before Taz Williams shuts that down. 3rd and 5 coming. So it's Hurd down.
That was a counter that he countered.
He countered.
Yep.
That's like a double negative.
Yeah, it's a double counter.
He ran the counter, and then there was nothing there, so he countered it. I like the way he runs.
Agreed. Big third down for Robert Morris.
Chickett is going to throw it, going to dump it off to Edmonds, and Edmonds has enough to get the first down. Oh, he had to fight for that.
Yeah, that was first effort, second effort, and last-ditch effort is what got him the first down.
Yeah, he comes up with half his jersey wrapped around his other shoulder. He's got to go get straightened out on the sidelines.
Yeah, he's going to get a rest now.
That was a terrific
Williams
run.
and Washington teamed up to stop that. Almost had him stop shy of the first down.
Almost. It was a nice play call. That little screen dump off. Good blocking up front.
So DJ Moyer checks into the game while Edmonds gets a rest, and there he goes. I feel like every running back, you talk about their size in this game, but every running back in this game has produced something.
Yeah. And they're all kind of on the same mold. All of them shifty and twitchy. Not just twitchy because they,
they're twitchy, shifty.
They jerk back and forth, but they also have fast twitch muscle fiber.
Yes, exactly.
Clyde Washington, the linebacker, coming up, making the stop on that play.
2nd and 5. Moyer stays in the game. Moyer's got the ball. Big hole. Closed pretty quickly, though. So Washington again. And that's it for the third quarter. So the Aggies put a touchdown and a field goal on the board and retake the lead. And we head to the fourth quarter with Utah State up 20-14. Opening night college football here in Logan on KMYU television locally and on the Mountain West Network. Fourth quarter coming your way next. Welcome back. Beautiful night here in Logan, Utah. Dave Fox along with Ron Harrington, Frank Dolce, opening night for the Utah State Aggies, visiting Robert Morris Colonials, hanging tough throughout this game. Right now the Aggies leading 20-14 as we head to the fourth quarter. Colonials bust out of that huddle, and here they come. And back to that running attack, and it's going to be very close.
Very close. This might even need a measurement.
Ike Larson.
Oh, they're saying move the chains.
Yep. No measurement.
Well, on the change of quarter, Robert Morris comes out. They stay in the huddle. The center broke out, went and got over the ball, and then everybody all at the same time jumped out of the huddle, went to the line of scrimmage, quick snap, trying to catch the defense off guard. I'm not sure if they accomplished that, but they did get the first down.
They did get the first down, so mission accomplished. Anthony Chickett at quarterback gets extra protection there, firing downfield, and that's picked off. Intercepted by Ike Larson.
What did I tell you? Off the top of the broadcast, talking about Ike Larson, there is a flag in the backfield, so we'll wait and see what the result is of that. But Ike Larson, I said, this is the guy that you want playing center field. He is a ball hawk. He came from the middle of the field. He knew where the ball was going because he was reading Chickett's eyes, and he sprinted over there, and he did a great job jumping high point. The penalty will not go against the Aggies, so that means that the turnover will count. Or as we've learned recently, we'll call it a takeaway.
A takeaway.
Takeaway.
The defense calls it a takeaway.
Ike Larson, 4 interceptions last season.
Yep.
And now he has his first this season.
You could see the way he broke on the football.
So here at Utah State, you don't, not only do you get the necklace.
Wait, what is this?
Right?
But
you also get the hat on the takeaway.
And it looks like he's riding the Bronco or something. What's going on down there? Oh yeah, he's got the whole crew around him. He's got the cowboy.
Robert Briggs checks in. By the way, that interception, Ike's 9th of his career. And Barnes' pass complete. They'll give him forward progress, I would think, a pickup of about 8.
You know, I don't always like all the celebrations.
Oh, was that Grant Page that caught that? The Colorado transfer.
Yeah. But one thing I do like, I really like how creative the teams are with the turnover jewelry
or the belt.
The belts, you know, and all the stuff. This
Barnes
is
takes off. This is Bryson
Barnes.
And Barnes gets loose, finds a hole, and Barnes is going to score the touchdown. Bryson Barnes. Oh, my.
If you want to know what Bryson Barnes brings to the quarterback position,
that's it.
That's it.
That's it right there.
What's going to happen? Wait. There goes Bryson Barnes.
Pocket breaks down, and Barnes knows exactly what to do. I'll tell you, Bryson Barnes is an exciting quarterback to watch.
He is. And by the way, he outran the defense.
Yes, he did.
For Robert Morris.
Yep.
He has a little bit of speed.
Yeah. For a quarterback.
Bryson Barnes.
Wow. Well played. Yes, well played.
You're not going to challenge me to a race, are you?
I won't.
Okay, good.
Yeah, maybe now I could. I challenge Fox for sure. Another penalty flag. Did the play clock run out? They called the timeout.
A couple of big plays for Utah State, starting off with the takeaway by Ike Larson and then followed up by the long run by Bryson Barnes to put more points on the board.
That run might make Bryson Barnes Utah State's leading rusher tonight.
I think it is. Because coming out of halftime, we had Faison with 54.
It's going to be
Briggs
really
had
close.
34. Faison might have added a couple of yards, not a ton.
Either way, impressive.
No doubt.
But it's just interesting because, guys' careers kind of take on a theme, and his theme is I replaced the starter because of an injury, and this is what I do.
How is that his? I know it's his theme, but how is that his theme? How does he become that guy? I'm the guy that replaces the guy that was because he got hurt. That's him. That's exactly Bryson Barnes. Going for two.
For two. Barnes.
Why not?
Keep it. How about that? Finish the drive. Gets the touchdown and the two.
It's interesting because when you're talking about multiple quarterbacks, there's a flag on the play. But when you have quarterbacks that have different skill sets, right? Your starter, who's Petrus, you have a playbook for him. Then
yes.
If you have to, if Bryson Barnes comes in, listen for the call.
Oh dear.
So they'll get to retry the down here, but it'll move back 5 yards. And so with Bryson Barnes, I'm expecting that there is a different playbook for him versus Petrus.
Well, Petrus, I don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah.
And Petrus is a guy he's big, he's comfortable in the pocket.
Yeah.
He has a big arm, accurate with the football, throws the ball downfield well.
So now maybe not kick the point after.
Maybe not as mobile.
Yeah.
And Bryson Barnes brings that mobility to the field. Maybe not quite. Oh, that's no good.
Wow, that is rare.
That is shocking. So the touchdown's great, but everything that happened after the touchdown
was not so great.
Terrible. And so Bryson, and so now it's up to this coaching staff, offensive coordinator, to understand that. And they've done a good job here in the second half. Stay with us. We'll be right back. 26-14.
Welcome back. What a run for Bryson Barnes. And with the point after, Aggies now have opened up the lead of 26-14, trailing 14-10 at the half. Dave Fox along with Lemon Harrington, Frank Dolce. Opening night here in Logan. You know, the season's all. You know, we started high school football. We're into our coming up on our 4th week
Yeah.
Of high school football.
and colleges are starting, and we'll be into our 5th week when the NFL starts. We'll be halfway through the season.
You remember coming out of COVID? We were the
it.
first football broadcast in the country.
And then
in the
not
nation.
this year, but last year, I think we began on August 11th.
Earliest game ever.
Yeah.
August 11th. Coaches were still like, wait, aren't we in double days? What are we doing?
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
Why do we have a game?
I thought I had vacation planned for right now.
Nope.
What are you talking
No,
about?
we got to get ready for
We'll be playing in July. Right there, moving. All right, first down for Robert Morris University, and Edmonds has just been the workhorse for this team.
I don't know how Edmonds gained yards on that play, but somehow he did.
Well, he initially lost yardage, and then somehow got around that far side, and then gained 4 yards on the play. That was an unbelievable run by Edmonds. He's going to be a bright spot if he can stay healthy. He'll be a bright spot for this football team for Robert Morris. I like Chickett too. I think Chickett's played well tonight.
I think Robert Morris has got to get their, as you like to call it, the throw game going.
I'd never call it that. Please don't ever put that on me. It's the passing game. It's not the throw game.
The run game and the throw game.
Yeah.
Again, twisting, turning. Edmonds trying to get a couple, and the Aggies are going to force them into 3rd and 5 again.
Nice
Miguel
break.
Jackson on a stop.
Yeah, breakdown by Jackson from that linebacker position. John Miller from the linebacker spot, transferred in from Oregon State. We were talking to Coach Dreiling, and he was mentioning all these guys that were coming from different schools. Some of them playing a lot, some of them, not playing a whole lot and getting opportunities here. But he was really excited about some of the players that have transferred in.
Oh, very much so. And he's got a lot of them. Chickett in trouble. Gets that ball out, but not even close to being able to get the first down. Avante Dickerson right there to knock him out of bounds.
Transfer from Oregon. Dickerson did a nice job reading that.
It feels like defensively the Aggies have taken control of the second half.
Yes.
Just as you predicted, both of you.
Yeah, it hasn't been perfect, but like on that play, they get to the quarterback, and the quarterback's able to release the ball, but the guy he released the ball to is being covered by another. Like they seem to have all of these things worked out here in the second half.
Flag
this one
on the play. That was a little bit of an anomaly. A higher punt.
Well, down at the 19, but there is a flag all the way back at the line of scrimmage.
This is when the punt team gets ticked. They're like, wait, I have to run all the way
back and repunt
and redo it.
I'm assuming this is a procedure penalty.
These officials have been very diligent about discussing the penalties. Make sure they get it right.
You're going to have them re-kick, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Just to make them run back and do it over again.
Yeah.
Oh, they're just going to add 5 yards to the end of the kick.
Let me clarify what I was saying about Bryson Barnes in the playbook.
Do you think you can?
This was kind of like your 6 degrees of separation. Right? I explained it, and everybody looked at me like, what? So let me try again.
Okay.
All right, let's do a little redo here.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm right there
Petrus,
with you.
you have a playbook that both of your quarterbacks, Barnes and Petrus, can run.
Okay.
But when Barnes is on the field, it opens up the playbook a little bit more where you can put in a designed run. Now, that touchdown run, I don't believe was a designed run. It was a broken play, coverage downfield, and you saw an opportunity. Yeah. But you can design runs for Barnes.
Robert Briggs trying to get outside, and Briggs gets a great block downfield from Jalen Royals, and here goes Briggs. And Briggs finally knocked out of bounds. Oh, he took a rough hit.
The way that he went out of bounds.
Yeah, not good.
Not sure if there was a hyperextension on his leg or
he got rolled up.
What he did show on that play right there is borderline world-class speed. That he turned on the jets. You watch him take the turn here. It's like he's coming out of a 200 meters. and he's making the turn, and he just catapults out of that turn. Right here at the end of the play. Oh,
yeah, he just got rolled up. He just got rolled up, and he's in obvious pain there on the sideline. Hopefully, you know, sometimes you get a little tweak of your ankle or something, and that's painful, and you can recover from that. But at that speed, that injury, that could be hard to overcome. A terrific run there on first down.
But he, you know, got a chance to see just how fast he is.
You got a lot of personnel around him right now working on
the whole. Looks like they're getting a.
We're giving the cart to help him off the field here.
Yeah, cart looks like they're getting something to wrap around.
Soft cast on him.
Yeah. His lower leg. Oh, I hate to see that.
Yeah. You know, you have certain goals coming into the first game of the season. You know, to a degree, they're inconsequential. And you want to work on some things, especially in a money game. Mm-hmm. And one of the main objectives is let's get out of here clean.
Healthy. Yeah.
Healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll take a break while they tend to him. So, Robert.
There you see Briggs was just being carted back to the locker room, and the student section, while he was being put on the cart, started chanting, "Briggs, Briggs, Briggs." He certainly has done some spectacular things. Probably the most spectacular, that run that we just saw.
So Faison will come in to take his spot, and Bryson Barnes at quarterback. Look to set up a screen. Wide open. Jalen Royals. And Royals dances into the end zone.
Great design that time. You have a route that's going up the seam, and a little pump fake from Bryson Barnes holds the safety and allows the receiver to get wide open. I knew a broadcaster used to call a play like that. He was wide open in the meadow.
That depends, especially plays here when you're wearing cow helmets.
Yeah. When they huddle as a herd.
No one around.
Oh, that's great. Good for Bryson Barnes.
So whatever positive feelings Robert Morris was feeling at halftime, the Aggies have completely taken that away. They have not scored in the second half while the Aggies have dominated.
Well, I mean, we kind of said Utah State's a second half team. Now that was Utah State a year ago.
Last year,
and this
was crazy
the way they came out in second half. And this is a completely new program this year. Like all the
push-ups, the vaunted push-ups.
Oh, here we go. We're milking the cow here in the student section. Yeah, love that. How many push-ups did he do? Well, how many push-ups has he done?
I'd have to go back through the scoring summary, and then I'd have to do the math. And by the time I do that, we'll be off the air.
Do we have anyone in here who's good at math? Can you tell us how many push-ups? Someone said over 50.
I could have told you that, though. I could have said over 50.
Pretty good guess.
Just in the 2 touchdowns, that's 7, and then 14. Added to the total of 33 now. This is why they tell you not to do live math on the air.
Don't do math. Don't do math. Don't do live math.
Were you like me in high school when you kept telling your math teacher, "I'll never need that"? Sure enough, I could have used it.
Just think, I had to have the big Texas Instruments calculator. You know, nowadays you just do it on your phone.
You just do this.
True.
No, it's like this. Hey, Siri. That's how you do math now. Hey, Siri.
That's true. But we have some schools here in Utah now that are now not allowing phones. It's a kind of a state mandate.
Good. I love
Unless your school council has made a different rule, that will be the rule throughout the state.
It's unnecessary in the classroom.
Yeah, but my social media following, they need to hear from me while I'm in school.
Are you in school?
What are we doing?
Well, there's a delay to start the drive here for Robert Morris, and they're looking up in the sky at the lights.
I think they're looking. There's a drone that is up high in the sky.
Oh, there it is.
They might be trying to, determine whether or not that's a licensed drone or not.
There's a pretty good chance here in Logan that could be shot down at any moment.
Might just be a UFO.
Is that Elon Musk? Is he setting up a Starlink or something?
That's exactly what it was, though.
Yeah, it is.
It's still over. It's moved off a little bit.
And you do have to have a license to be able to fly drones like that in a public space.
All right, first down. Here we go again with Edmonds. Number 3 has been busy tonight.
Yeah, nowhere to run that time.
I guess that's your guy, John Ross May. He came to clean it up. Now, he got help up front, and then he could come and clean it up. But John Ross May has found himself in a lot of tackles tonight.
He's got 84 yards on 18 attempts tonight. He's been very active. But Utah State has flexed their muscles here in the second half. Bryson Barnes has settled in. Remember, at halftime, he was only 2 of 7, had an interception. He was struggling. He's looked good. Chickett's pass caught, first down yardage, and a little bit more. Ridgely there, and John Ross May on the stop.
Yeah, Ridgely just a little one-on-one, kind of an option route, and he was able to get the inside edge.
John Ross May hobbles off to the sideline.
First down. Oh, just hit. How in the world that was completed, but
yeah, this is coming.
Edmonds got the catch, but
will that be roughing?
Yeah, it'll be helmet to helmet. Like, this could be targeting. This could be targeting. Two flags down on the play. It looked like helmet to helmet.
Here's the call.
Okay, so they didn't say with targeting.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's take a look at the replay here. Yeah. I think that
they got away with it.
A replay booth may come back and say,
hold everything.
Yeah. Spires, by the way, 5 sacks last year.
He's certainly been active tonight. So that moves the ball all the way up to the 43-yard line of the Aggies, first down. And Edmonds again. Not much there.
They've really cleaned it up at the line of scrimmage.
Mangao.
You say that way better than I do.
Yeah. It's a good thing we have an Alema.
Mangao. Everyone needs an Alema.
Everyone needs an Alema. I agree. Alema says words that make common words sound amazing. You know, when he says Hawaii, when Alema says Hawaii. Yeah. Like, that's how. Yeah,
or
that's how
Israel Kamakavivole.
Yeah.
Oh, my word.
Wow.
That is amazing.
When you say Hawaii, that's how Hawaii thinks it should be called Hawaii.
By the way, John Ross May, the reason we've called his name a lot because he's been active. And down goes the quarterback, and Sloan with the sack. But Ross May, I got to tell you, team high 10 tackles tonight. That's his 11th career double-digit tackling outing. So he has been busy tonight.
Chickett never saw May coming. He had his back turned towards him and coming off the weak side edge and thinking they were going to roll out, Sloan. And just what an unbelievable effort by Sloan, but he came in untouched. That was a huge play right there for this defense.
Whatever Nate Dreiling told this defense, maybe he told him don't let him score in the second half.
Very simple message.
That's the way it's gone, yeah.
Very simple message.
I have one word for you. Don't let him score.
Well, it's pride for Coach Dreiling. He's a head coach. He's a young head coach. But he's really a defensive coordinator.
Got a little bit of a stack formation. Look for the screen pass.
I mean, they're coaching for their future here.
Mm-hmm.
So third down, Alema called for the screen. There it is, the inside screen. It is caught by Robinson. Robinson, great yardage, gets back just beyond the original line of scrimmage, and Vincent there to stop him. So 4th and 9 and 7:52 to play. You're down 33-14. You keep the offense out there?
No, you're going to punt this thing away.
Punt it away, okay.
At a certain point, you continue to work on the things that you need to work on.
Right, okay.
So regular game situations, your punt team's got to get some work.
Robert Freeman back inside the 10. Oh, the play clock expired again. This may not really matter.
Wait.
Now, that might be by design.
Penalty by design.
Penalty by design. Move it back 5 yards.
That's a PBD.
Yep.
That sounds like a clothing line that you created. Penalty by design.
Yeah, I'd sell those T-shirts out of my trunk.
They'll be available
on your way out. Stop by my car.
They'll be available. First thing in the
buy
morning.
one. I think we can come up with a nice design for that.
You get a bonus.
By design.
Why not us? Why not now? Shirts.
Open like he was in a meadow.
They almost got to that kick, and fair catch called for at the 8-yard line, and wisely so, because there were 4 white jerseys around that. So the Aggies up 33-14, looking for a season-opening win, and 7:10 off the clock. And how about Bryson Barnes coming into this second half? Really stepping things up.
No kidding. I mean, he's really taking control of the football game. I like what the offensive coaching staff has done. I think they're calling a game that suits his abilities, and then he's just done Bryson Barnes things.
Yeah.
Scrambling, finding an open lane, scoring a 60-yard touchdown.
Little sidearm throw.
The sidearm.
Done it all.
Yeah, all that
Hey, the
stuff.
freshman, Herschel Turner, with the injury to Briggs, has checked into the game.
Okay.
Freshman out of Richmond, California. And Barnes is going to pull this, keep it.
Right, the designed run that we wouldn't see if Petrus was in. Now, speaking of the young running back, the freshman, getting an opportunity to get out on the field. As we were talking to Coach Dreiling, he was like, I'm telling you, this kid, I know that he's just a freshman, but he's going to be a good one. Herschel Turner.
And now he's getting an opportunity already.
Yeah, he loves their running back room. Said we got a bunch of good guys. Certainly hope that Briggs is going to be okay.
There's Turner's first carry. Oh, spectacular. Flips ahead for the first down, pops right back up. He's already fired up.
Yes, so much adrenaline. He didn't even feel what happened just now.
365 days ago, he was playing high school ball.
Yeah. He's loving this.
Running wild in Richmond, California.
And again, fitting that mold, Dilemma. 5'9", 190-pounder.
And there's teams that they recruit all of their running backs like that. There's others that say, nah, we want our guys to be like 6'2", 215 to 230.
Here comes Turner again. Turner trying to get outside. Flag is down. That's a good open field tackle right there. William
Flag
Barber
on the
was
play. I
checking
think we're going to get a hold here. A hold on a running play.
Holding. 56 offense.
You see that?
3-yard penalty.
On the run play.
Remains first down.
I don't particularly
odds,
understand why you guys are arguing about how that holding on running play is not that odd.
No, it's not odd. It's just they never call it.
Okay.
But what happens is if you've got a reach block sometimes, and you're trying to get out to the outside shoulder of your guy, and you're not getting there, you might grab something and just try to hold them up.
And then just hold.
Yeah.
Yep. Do you
But
think
if you are trained properly in the art of holding, then you know that you have to be inside the frame.
South of the point of the mountain.
First down, here he comes, Herschel Turner. And Turner gets about 5. You're seeing the future of the backfield of Utah
Well, this
State.
guy's 18 years old, all kinds of energy.
Clock continues to run, down to 5 minutes to go as the Aggies headed towards victory on opening night. They'll pack things up next week and head to Southern Cal to take on USC. Boy, college football is going to look so weird this year with Pac-12 gone.
How about that? The Pac-12 gone and the Pac-12 schools that are now in the Big Ten. What about that travel schedule?
Yeah,
I mean,
my word. That's worse than the Big 12 schedule.
Yeah,
by
no
far.
doubt.
Here he goes. Turner gets outside, and Turner all the way up beyond the 35-yard line near the 40. A great run for this young man.
Well, as advertised, this kid, just a freshman, but explosive, exciting, got some good blocking. He went through untouched, but I think you see what his instincts will allow him to do.
Well, there was probably a part of him that thought he was going to score. He came into that clearing and he saw the goal line and he was headed that way.
I tell you, the Pac-12 teams that have real travel issues is Cal and Stanford. They're going even further in. Barnes firing downfield, open 30-yard line. Catch and carry out of bounds, and that's Will Money.
Well, give Will Money credit for keeping that play alive, because that took a lot longer than it was scheduled, right? So Barnes breaks the pocket, rolls out, and is able to find Money because he was keeping the play alive.
Yeah. And
now that is a drill that you work on in practice, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the offensive line did a fantastic job of holding steady at the line of scrimmage.
Without holding.
Without holding. Barnes had plenty of time to work.
Barnes 11 of 20, 198 yards. He's 2 yards away from a 200-yard game as he keeps the ball and slides. Oh, that fans, of course, want the hit after he gave himself up.
Yeah, that was close. I don't think there's any penalty on that play.
Yeah, this RPO has a whole different look with Barnes running it.
Like an actual RPO.
Like an actual
like there's a real
pass
RPO.
option, yeah.
And that's something they said, you know, Coach Streiling said there's an RPO on every play. Yeah. And you can see that when Bryson Barnes is running the quarterback position.
But when Petrus is in there, it's more P than R.
It's very unlikely it's going to be a keeper.
Second down, here he goes again. Herschel Turner.
Yeah, just shy of the first down yardage. Be about 1 yard to get to the line to gain.
Guess what we're going to have coming up here?
Pizza.
Another 2-minute warning.
Oh.
They should be able to get this play off. 5 seconds.
Maybe not.
Oh, now we got a penalty. False start.
Let's say somebody in that trips formation had moved.
So that'll back it up, but one more pass for Barnes. He'll go over 200 yards and didn't come in till late in the first half. And now there's the 2-minute timeout. New in college football this year. We'll be back to finish things off here from Logan.
Now we're taking a look here at Kyrese White. He's had quite an evening.
In stadium as the player of the game. 2 big touchdowns.
Player of the game, in stadium player of the game, and he has the Troy Polamalu.
The hair? Yeah, the hair looks good.
Yeah.
Third down, really Bryson Barnes looking, plenty of time going deep downfield. Jump ball, and Jalen Royals cannot come up with it.
Almost
had that.
Hey, that was a pretty good ball. I mean, it's really good coverage.
Yeah.
And a pretty good ball there by Bryson Barnes. He gave his receiver a chance. A lot of hand fighting there. Almost came down with it.
Tyrus Harvey, that freshman, who's played well for these guys.
Yeah, a couple of interceptions.
Yeah, he's had a memorable game for sure. But credit this defense shutting out Robert Morris in the second half. Trailing 14-10, did not give up another point. And this kick is on the way, and it's good.
He hit that right into good hands.
Right into the good hands.
Right into the good hands logo.
That's a good aiming spot. Do you think they put that up there as like an aiming spot? Hit the good hands.
Yeah, I never even thought about that, but he hit it right there square.
And by the way, even all the way up here, that did sound good. I mean, I think Coach Driley's onto something.
We need to get a
It just
parabolic
sounded
microphone
like-
downstairs just for
that.
Just for
his
that.
kicks.
Indeed.
Did you ever kick?
No.
You did everything else, but
well-
you never kicked it?
Well,
You know when I got a new respect for kickers?
I did punt a little bit, but not.
When you and I were calling games for the Blaze,
Oh, yeah.
and first of all, the goalposts are like
Oh, yeah.
3 feet apart.
Yeah.
And remember they had the media night where we came out, and I tried to kick a field goal, and I basically pulled a ham.
You know what's even harder than kicking the field goal is catching a kick off the
Yes,
net.
that was even more difficult.
I'll tell you, I don't know if you ever did that. I mean, we all called arena games.
Yeah.
And so I had the opportunity to watch some of the different skill sets necessary for that brand of football.
That is tough.
Yeah.
Those were some fun games you and I called. It was a whole different world.
Well,
of
I used to
football.
call it fast break football.
Yeah.
And, the strategy at the end of games, letting the other team score so you can get the ball back.
All the time.
Yeah.
It was like turkey ball. Just let them score. We want the ball. But we had a great team here,
Not
too.
quite as serious as Turkey Bowl,
yeah,
but yes.
Danny White coached for a while. It was a lot of fun.
Danny White. Lee Leslie was an offensive coordinator.
Yeah. How crazy is that? He actually played for a while in that team that was in Provo, Utah. Or Orem. But, yeah, those are fun times. It's a different world there. All right, Robert Morris putting the finishing touches on this game, and Zach Tanner has come in for Anthony Chickett.
Well, I think Robert Morris has some. They have some nice features on this football team. I like their running game. I really like Chickett.
Nice close there by Noah Flores. Kid out of Alta High School, just a freshman, getting some time on the field.
Yeah, he's getting in there tonight. Good for him. Oh, boy. Tanner gets rid of that football, and they're going to say it's out of bounds.
And 3 coaches go down on the sidelines.
McConico, the one in the defensive backfield in coverage.
So this Utah State football team, they're going to get a nice win here tonight. They have a few difficult weeks ahead.
Yeah, USC on the horizon.
And Utah. How about Utah up here, though? That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
You were just talking about Noah Flores, Alta High kid.
Yeah.
He was put on scholarship here just 3 weeks ago.
Good for him.
Imagine that day, what that meant to him.
Oh, yeah.
Now he's on the field. Pass out in the flat. That's a good ball thrown by Tanner.
Yeah.
DJ Graham on the coverage.
Transfers from Oklahoma. Speaking of Graham.
You know, when we were finished with our conversation with Coach Dreiling on Friday, he was talking about some of the defensive guys that really stand out. It occurred to me he went through almost every single player.
Yeah.
If he just loves them, they're just.
And that's where you recognize that he's the head coach and the defensive coordinator. Right?
He couldn't sing. He wasn't going to single anybody out.
He was naming guys off by name, giving statistics, giving background, family background,
everything.
what school he played for, as he transferred in, how many plays he actually played, and so he certainly knows his players well,
he does.
especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Student section comes to life over there, getting ready to wrap up this game for the Aggies.
They'll move the chains again.
Chase
Speaking
Davis,
of Robert Morris.
another freshman getting in there out of Texas. Chase Davis on the stop, along with a couple of other blue jerseys. I think the cow helmets are a success. I hope they bring them back again. I like them. The agricultural school helmets.
Oh, great play.
Big open field town.
Flores right there.
That's why he's on
Noah
scholarship.
Flores.
Yeah.
Just 5'9", 180 pounds. True freshman out of Alta High School. Good for him to be able to get on the field here, Division I, and get to play in front. I'm sure he's got a good crowd here supporting him.
Tanner's going to take off here. Flores again on that tackle. Matt,
He's a ball hawk.
did they take a timeout? They did. Okay, 17 seconds to go. And Robert Morris takes a timeout. So we talked about when we came out of that halftime break, adjustments to be made, and they certainly were, really on both sides of the ball.
They made good adjustments, and not only adjustments, but the execution, intensity, especially on the defensive side at the line of scrimmage. I thought Utah State really took control of the game in the second half, and that bled over onto the offensive side of the ball. And then you get Bryson Barnes a little more comfortable running the offense, and they just kind of ran away with it here in the second half.
Doug Hoffman just sent a note. 27 Aggies made their debut tonight for this football team.
Wow.
Wait, 27?
27. That's
27?
phenomenal. Well, a few of them are coming in now.
Yeah.
We knew there were a lot of new players. But
Does that include
contributed.
Does that include coaches?
yeah.
Well, if you include the coaches, that's another 10 that you add to that.
Whoop, there he goes. I don't know why they didn't throw the flag.
That was a pity pickup.
Yeah, a little shovel pass there. It's going to be short of the first down, so the clock will continue to run, and that should just about do it unless they hustle up there and try to run one more play. But
Chuck
you see the clock there down to 5, 4, 3.
A timeout.
Another timeout. Well, they're going to use them all.
Yeah, there's some boos coming from the crowd, but I think you don't blame the coach for trying to get one more play in. You know, obviously Utah State getting ready for what's coming up for them next. And the same thing can be said for Robert Morris. They've got a season to prepare for as well.
Well, if you have, I mean, you can't take them with you.
Yeah, you got some of the.
That'd be great if you could accumulate them.
Headed for the exits, student section.
Yeah. By the end of the year, some coaches would
still
have
here.
72 timeouts in a game. If you could
10-hour
accumulate.
game.
Yeah. Yes. All right. So, do you run? I mean, do you throw a Hail Mary here? Do you try and chuck something to the end zone?
You know, I'm not sure. I hope you don't take a timeout and then take a knee.
That is a valid point. You go through all that, do something. And they're going to just throw it short and see if they can turn that into something. And that's going to be it. Clock will actually stop for a second.
The offensive
trying
line
to get them up there.
They want to get one more play,
They're
try to
gonna
spike it or
clock
something.
but I don't think they have enough time to clock it.
Yeah, he did.
They did 1 second.
He did. They They executed the clock penalty or the clock play perfect.
Yeah. They're bringing in their field goal unit.
Okay, sure. Great. Hey. Yeah. I mean, I don't even want to get into the gambling world, but the spread was like 31.
I don't know what's going on with the band in the student section, but they're yelling some coordinated something.
I mean, they've already covered. I can't tell what they're yelling either, and I'm not sure we want to know. Just in case.
This is like Game of Thrones. They're saying shame.
Oh, here comes Coach.
He's coming over. He's going to shake hands.
That's it. All right. So the game has come to an end, and the coaches meet at midfield. And congratulations, Nate Dreiling comes in, gets his first win. And the Aggies really turned it on here in the second half, guys.
Indeed, they did. They came out of the locker room. As you take a look, there's Paris White, who had a fantastic game here tonight. A couple of big touchdowns for him. Coach Dreiling, his first win as the Aggies head coach here.
And he said a lot of players would contribute, and he wasn't kidding.
But to your point about coming out in the second half, kind of hitting the reset button, they go into the locker room down and come back out and reclaim the lead and never looked back.
Well, good for the Aggies. Now things get just a little bit tougher.
Yeah, and now I think the next thing you're interested in is the injury report coming out probably on Monday or Tuesday with the holiday.
Got to check Briggs and Petrus. But you know what? If you're going to go with Bryson Barnes, at least you got a guy that's got a lot of experience.
This is why you're okay to bring in 3-4 different quarterbacks that are coming in for the first time, right? That are transferring in, having had success at other schools. You're like, okay, Yeah, and then the guys understand. Bryson Barnes understood, okay, they're bringing in Petrus from Iowa. So, I mean, maybe there's a pecking order or there's a, I got to wait in line. I'm okay with that. I understand how college football works. Somebody's going to get injured. Those things happen. It's part of the game.
Absolutely. And
there they go. They light the A here.
There's no better guy to have on your bench than Bryson Barnes in that scenario because he understands it perfectly.
Yeah, he really, at halftime, I was a little nervous for him, to be honest. But he settled right in and got things taken care of. The next Aggie home game will be on September 14th when the University of Utah comes to Logan. And next week, the Aggies will head to Southern Cal to take on USC. Well, we appreciate you joining us tonight. Frank at 11. Always great to call games with my guys, and our entire broadcast crew did a great job. Congratulations to the Aggies. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a good night.